Hello everybody, welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 13. Hopefully not unlucky number 13. I am joined by living proof that you can in fact judge books by their covers. Josh, Steve, and Saif. Say hi everyone.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone.
Hi everyone.
I'm going to choose to take that as an insult to Josh.
Yeah, I honestly thought he was just going to stop at Josh.
Yeah, just introduce one at a time. No, we don't have a deep dive this week, but we do have a game that did come out more recently than 3 years ago, so hooray for relevancy. We'll get into that. First up though, we need our What Did Samsung Do This Week? Check in with Saif. What's the latest?
I didn't go last weekend because things were kind of busy and hectic at home, so I'm going to the Samsung HQ this Saturday to sort out my phone.
All the way in Korea.
Yeah, all the way in Korea. I am going to go slap the president of Samsung directly.
Which Korea is it, but?
Is it in Korea actually? It might be in Taiwan.
No, I thought it was a South Korean company, isn't it?
I thought so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Samsung is a South Korean
I don't know where
company.
the HQ's based these days. It doesn't really matter.
Pretty sure that's South Korea. Anyway, that's fine. Unfortunately, this means that we have 3 minutes of content to fill, so what do you got for us, Saif?
I can do a song and dance.
Yeah, that'll translate really well on audio.
Yeah, the interpretive dance was fantastic. Thank you for that. No, that's fine.
I can't believe you went that low.
Most
I can't believe I went that high.
Most people's spines break at that angle. Okay. Random question for the group then. What is the last film you saw in cinemas?
Spider-Man.
I have no idea.
Spider-Man? Yeah, it was Spider-Man for me.
Oh, actually, I watched the Demon Slayer movie, so that was really good. What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, that's a really good movie, yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Oh.
What's it like being wrong, Josh?
I was right being wrong. I watched the better movie.
No, you didn't.
That is
Whoa,
debatable.
Hold on there. I did read that arc though, and that arc is really good in Demon Slayer.
The arc was very good. The movie
It's
was
a
even
yeah, it's a
better.
good movie.
The
And
animation
even
quality. Oh.
yeah, and even when they ported it to an episode series, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was still really good. I basically watching it the second time and it still hit me.
All right. Well, seeing as we don't have a tech update this week, I guess we'll just go straight into Round the Lounge. This is now, I think, our fastest any % Round the Lounge speedrun record, so that's going to be a tough one to beat in future episodes, but we'll see how we go. Anyway, Round the Lounge, we will start with Steve. What you been up to?
I've been playing a bit of Halo Infinite. Well, technically, I've been playing that since it came out. Never really stopped.
Playing it an infinite amount, perhaps?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Maybe
Infinite content.
1 or 2 hours a day is what I'd really say. But I've been playing that, and I've also gotten into Slay the Spire because a friend of mine, a good friend of the show, Tom, recommended it for me, and I expected a different thing with that game, and I'm really enjoying it. And
I do find it entertaining that we have all these games that have come out recently, like Dying Light 2, Elden Ring coming out soon, the latest Horizon Zero Dawn entry. But instead, last week, we're like, man, Control from 2019 was good. And then you looked at that and went, man, I wonder what else came out ages ago, and then picked something from 2017. So good job. I think we're moving backwards, but that's cool. We'll get into that.
the trick is
Seth,
I'm
what
not
about
paying
you?
full price for a game.
Yeah,
It's on
true.
Game Pass too, Slay the Spire, isn't it?
It is on, yes, very good. It is
Yeah,
on Game
it
Pass.
is.
Another shout out. Yes, us X-Bros, man, we're always on top.
Always.
Big Game Pass.
It's even on Game Pass for PC, so 10 out of 10. Take your
Exactly,
with you.
both consoles, X-Bros and the PC Master Race together at last.
Glad to hear it. We will discuss that soon. Seth, what have you been up to?
I played through all of Guardians of the Galaxy. I touched on it a little bit last week, but 1, I was feeling pretty down from my COVID booster shot, and 2, I was still pretty early into it, so I didn't want to get too into it. But now that I've actually finished the game, I can give my full thoughts on that.
Oh, you know what would have been really smart if we big brained it and said, if you want to hear more of Seth's thoughts last week, go back and listen to next week's episode. Man, that would have been a baller move if I'd thought of that last week. Oh well, that's cool. That's cool. Anything else or just Guardians?
Just Guardians.
Fair enough. And last, Josh.
Yeah, I was waiting for last, but still least. No, I've played a couple of hours of the new Voice of Cards game because I was really keen to play that. And then for some reason I played a couple of hours of Mario Kart, but we don't really need to discuss that. And spent the rest of the week sick. So how good?
Did you get the new DLC tracks?
Well, they're not out yet.
All right then.
But
That wasn't what he asked.
Well, I can't get them because they're
Well,
not out
technically-
yet.
So you
Technically,
didn't get
you-
them. It's fine. Just
Yeah,
say
I
no.
didn't get them.
Like you have.
No.
Just say no.
Yeah,
Technically, he does have them because
I
he's
do.
got the Nintendo subscription enhanced edition. But yeah, So when they do come out, he'll have them day one.
I
Or
got
take
Hour one
Nintendo
even.
Online plus you knew.
Technically, you could just go back and like onto the other Mario Kart games and just play them for no extra cost.
I could just pull out my phone and play them right now. Oh, it's amazing.
I mean, to be fair, it costs money to go back and play those games if you don't already own them.
I never had an N64, so
Did anybody tell him about emulation or?
Nah, we'll get to that in a
Emulation.
future
What-
episode.
It's a secret.
Excuse me, what is that word? We only pay for Nintendo games around here. We do not endorse piracy of their products.
Mr. Bowser, if you're listening, please turn it off.
I've only heard of emulation through Nintendo's lawyers.
Yo, does
Also,
anyone else?
Mr. Bowser, the guy that got sent to literal prison for
Yeah, Doug. Is it
Yeah.
Doug Bowser or is Doug
No.
Bowser the CEO? I can't remember.
Doug Bowser's the CEO.
Yeah.
The other dude, I don't know what his first name is. Everyone just called him Bowser.
And
Got
Doug
done for the
Dimmadome is the
Switch
owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Yeah.
I said.
It was good. It was good. I didn't know if that was a transition or not. So I didn't say anything.
we will make it work. All right.
damn,
So in
son.
that case, shall we start with your week, Josh?
Yeah, there's not really much to it. I think I'm still the only one that's played any Voice of Cards game out of us, right?
Yeah.
For now, yes.
For now, yes. Okay.
I'm very keen on getting them, but I need to wait a little bit. Too many things out at the moment.
Yeah, Isle of Dragon Roars is on my list. It's just a matter of money and time, and I have neither.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I kind of shielded the first one. And this one is, like I was saying last week, pretty much more of the same. I didn't realize that the actual voice actor actually changed though, which is rather strange because all the characters / the story is told through one voice in the first game, and the same is true for this one. But they actually just chose a different person, and I just wasn't prepared for it. I didn't really like the new voice actor to start with, but it kind of grew on me. So anyway, this one's called Voice of Cards: The Forsaken Maiden. And you go around to various islands and meet the several maidens on these islands, and it's kind of like it's almost like the Pokemon games for Sun and Moon, where you do like a trial to kind of help them, and then they effectively just stop being your party members through the story. So rather than, or at least that's my understanding of it from what they've shown, rather than having like a static party like the first game, you can't actually change the equipment on most of your party members, and party members drop in and out of like almost traditional Final Fantasy kind of style, where they'd appear for something, their sequence would be done, and then they'd go continue their story elsewhere. So that's kind of cool. That's really the only change. The OST is still amazing, and obviously being Yoko Taro, there's a lot of Nier elements in this, not just from the DLC, but you sort of go into like this alternate land, and it's very much. You guys have all played Automata, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How
I
great.
You know
haven't
that,
finished it, but yeah, played a bit of it.
Oh, okay. You might not know what I'm talking about then, but at one point in Automata, you go to like, I don't really know how to describe it other than like a digital kind of cube world, and everything is like made out of those like white cubes and stuff.
Yes.
You sort of have like one of those moments in this where you go into like this weird world, and there's all these different like texts saying like, you know, like depression or anxiety or whatever, and it's got like all of this like wrapped up emotion, and you sort of fight through the emotions of that, and everything's in like grayscale, so that was kind of cool.
What if the emotions win?
I don't know.
Asking for a friend.
I don't know. I'm still living it. I'm still fighting my battle. But
Is it
but
like
no,
a Disney
I thought
movie
it was
Inside
cool.
Out? Is it Inside Out the one of the emotions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Nah, this one's more like
I would die for Riley
what?
from Inside Out. You had to be
You'd
there.
die
Don't worry
for
about it.
Riley. Oh, okay. But yeah, no, the game's really good so far. I'm only a couple of hours in. It's still technically the first chapter. But really good so far. I'll probably give them a thorough update next week.
Cool. Was there anything else on your list, or was it just voice cards?
Pretty much just voice of cards. We've all played Mario Kart 8 at this point.
Oh no, you mentioned being sick. So what was that like?
Being sick.
Yeah.
I spent like 5 days in bed.
Was it COVID?
No, it wasn't COVID.
Well, I mean, you
COVID's a
hinted
myth.
you hinted that you might be getting sick at the end of last week's episode. So I'm just wondering, like, how did it play out? What was the story like? Was there any character development? How difficult was it? Did you play on Legendary?
What?
Legendary. Legendary would be having COVID, wouldn't it? No, I
Depends on the
I
variant.
think that's cancer.
It's
Dying. This is
probably
the
a
last
better call,
episode.
isn't it?
This is the last
This is-
episode, right?
You
It
load
is.
in and it just says you die.
You know how I was saying like,
Yes, a Souls game tutorial.
You respawn, right? Right?
right? I just need to get the achievements, guys. I'll be back. Don't worry.
It boots you back to the title screen, right?
Yeah, it's just like that thing for Nier, where it's like, hey, do you want to like use your story to save others, and it deletes my save.
God, that's right. It does that.
I genuinely did not believe that it would delete my save, and then I did, and I was like, yeah, I deserved that.
I still haven't done that because I genuinely want to go back and finish off the trophies in that game.
So I already did them.
You can
and then
buy
I
them.
was like, oh yeah.
I know. Hey everyone, I know the game is 5 years old at this point, but we're about to spoil one of the very last things from Nier Automata, like right at the end of the game. So if you haven't played that game yet and want to experience it for the first time yourself, then skip ahead about 1 minute and 10 seconds. And we'll be going back to the podcast in 3, 2, 1...
Wait. So I'm confused how that works. So I as I said, haven't finished Automata. So what? You get to the end of Automata, and then it's just like, hey, do you want to just delete your save for fun, or does it actually do something for other players?
So
It does something for other players.
yeah, you know those like scenes where you do like the hacking, you like the triangle and you shoot things.
Yeah.
There's one of these at the end of the game where you just shoot the credits basically, and you just kind of get score.
Oh, it's the end of Smash Ultimate Story Mode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
effectively. So you just shoot those things, and then if you fail enough, then other people's like spirits/saves can come and help you. And at the end, you get to choose, hey, you know, do you want to upload your save that can help other people in need, but it will delete your save? And you choose either yes or no. And I was like, oh yeah, I've got another save. And then I did it, and it's like, oh, we're gonna wipe all your saves. And I was like, oh, cool. But no, I was fine with it in the end. I'd done everything I needed to do.
Yeah, they do the exact same thing in the original Nier as well for story-related reasons in that game.
It's not like that. What was that one game where it's like pull out like this thing, edit this save file, delete this, and then it does like a different thing in the story. It was
What the fuck? That
PC
sounds
game?
wild.
Yeah, it was. There was like a PC game that did it, where you had to
Pull
like
out-
edit
pull
a
out cheat
certain
engine.
file in the actual thing.
Oh, is that Doki Doki Literature Club?
That might be one of them.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
that
know, I
does
haven't
something
played
similar
that.
from what I've heard.
I
Yeah.
think Doki Doki Literature Club changes your wallpaper at one point.
Oh, that's cool. Stop
I need to play
malware.
that as well.
No.
Yeah, I downloaded some smileys and got that for free. So
I got like Ask Jeeves on my taskbar. What was I gonna say? Now I'm completely distracted now. Yeah, there was a game that did it, and then there was another game on PlayStation, I think it was, that was. It might have even been.
You're thinking of like Metal Gear Solid 1 where you have to like
It
move
might
the
have been
memory
Metal Gear
card.
Solid. Yeah, you have to like remove the memory card.
Psycho
Metal Gear
Mantis.
Solid 1 does something with memory cards and
Yeah.
Psycho Mantis.
Yeah, which is kind
And
of cool.
also the controller port, which is really funny.
wait, what?
So Psycho Mantis will always read your inputs on the first controller port, and if you can call the codec guys every now and then, and they'll eventually tell you to try the other controller port. So to beat Psycho Mantis, you have to unplug your controller and put it in controller port 2, so he
pretty
can't
cool.
read your movements anymore.
And he even like
That's
reads your
good.
memory card and he says what type of games you like playing and all that. It's neat.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
no,
cool.
it's so good.
They have to be Konami games, though. He mentions like Castlevania,
Oh, it's
and
just
other
Castlevania
Konami games.
Oh, okay.
But if you're playing the GameCube version of the game, he'll mention Nintendo games, like you like playing Super Smash Brothers.
Oh,
Does he recommend that you shout?
he can't smell you. He can only hear what you're thinking.
He knows.
He's got a gas mask on for a reason.
No, the idea of the going way back to what the start of that discussion was, the idea of the leaving something behind to help other players. I know that that's also a staple of like Souls games where you leave notes to other players and bits and pieces. For some
Doesn't
reason, it
delete
just
your
reminded me
save
of what was that?
That doesn't delete your save, but
No, I know, but it just reminded me of shoot, what was it called? The First Tree, I think. It was like an indie game that came out a few years ago. Yeah, The First Tree. Anyone played it?
no.
Never heard of it.
No.
It's kind of it's one of those kind of like story-based games where you're playing a shoot, it's been a while since I played it. You play a fox. The fox either you die or your kids die. I forget which. And the whole thing is you like running after them through these like large areas to it's like, you know, kind of like pretty low poly open world thing that you're like running after. You're basically just running through a bunch of environments, and eventually you have this big it's supposed to be this big emotional hit because you meet your long lost offspring at what was called the First Tree. It's like the tree of life and everything. And then there's like music swelling and everything, and it's like, what's the one message you would leave to your cubs? it's supposed to be like the heat of the moment thing. I remember playing it. I was just kind of stunned that it would offer me this suggestion, because the idea was that this suggestion would then be given to other players. So naturally, I left a message to my future Cubs saying the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Submitted, moved on, and never played the game since. So if
That's
anyone out
interesting.
there is playing the first tree and they got a biology lesson, you're welcome.
It's not quite Dark Souls tri-tongue butthole, is it?
Or what was the other one? Nice chest.
Large
Nice
large
chest,
chest ahead. Or it was.
Yeah, large chest ahead.
Yeah, tri-thrusting. There's a few good ones.
Yeah, it's amazing because even in games where they restrict your ability to write free text for the idea that what could they possibly get away with if they can't type the words themselves. Oh man, never underestimate the internet. Even in Monster Hunter Rise, some of you have pretty degenerate names.
Yeah,
Not
they're
going
pretty
to name
good.
names here. Josh.
Man, that
Yeah.
that reminds me. I was trying to post a screenshot from Guardians of the Galaxy the other day on my from my PS5, and because it had the word glasses in the tweet, it wouldn't let me post it because it had the word ass in the word glasses.
10 out of 10.
No, that's cool. Let us know how you get on with the rest of it. We'll look forward to hearing it next week. This is, of course, referring to the way back to the game that you played, Voice of
Voice
Cards.
of Cards, yeah.
Yeah. Forsaken Maiden?
Yeah, the Forsaken Maiden.
Yeah, there we go. I
I'm
was
sure
listening. Sweet. Do you want to give it a score out of 10, or is that more of a wait till next week type deal?
I'd have to wait till next week because obviously, like I was saying, it's pretty much the exact same game that I played earlier. So, that gameplay was phenomenal, but the story is really what tied it all together. And at this point, I don't know how the story is, so I'll give it a rating next week.
Sweet. Sounds good. Thank you, Josh, for that. I know that Seth probably has the most to say about Guardians of the Galaxy, so we'll go to Steve next. Tell us about your infinite Halo progression.
My journey, my infinite journey has stopped because I hit level 100 in the battle pass. Woo!
That means you can stop playing, right?
Yeah, I literally did it like last Friday or last Saturday. And I went to 100. I'm like, wow, okay, I'm done. And then put it down. I haven't touched it since.
How are you going to do it again for season 2?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
This sounds exactly like my approach to Pokemon Unite, where made it to the top rank, filled out the battle pass for season 1, and then they're like, cool, here's season 2. Haven't touched it since.
Yeah.
Haven't even booted it.
Beat the children at their own game.
It depends what season 2 adds. Because maybe because I was like solo queuing, I found it like pretty stale after a while. There are sort of like variations in the matches and the match types and the different challenges you do sort of change which weapons you're focusing on, which game modes you choose. But yeah, it's still the same
It's
couple
still an
of
FPS.
yeah, and it's the same like 6 or 7 maps are in rotation because Big Team Battle is like fucking broken to the point where they stopped giving out challenges for Big Team Battle because everyone's getting the shits. It's like, oh, I can't level up because Big Team Battle is broken. But yeah,
What do you mean broken? What, the losers just don't get any XP?
No, as in like you couldn't even like get a match with Big Team Battle. Like you'd go to enter the Big Team Battle server and it'd be like, couldn't connect.
So the challenge would be like win a big team battle, and it just wouldn't let you.
You couldn't even get into a Big Team battle match. So
gotcha.
It's like, so it's like, all right, well, I hate this.
That's like when Rocket League serves up like, hey, play on this extra modes playlist, and you look at it and you're like, there are 100 people queuing for this right now.
Yeah.
I'll
that's
come
more
back
than
in
usual.
15 minutes. More than usual. Yeah, true. Anyway, yeah, okay. So other than so breaks aside, yeah. So, what's the high point? What are you going to tell your grandkids about on your journey to level 100?
Oh, I got it to level 100. That was the end of the day. Like it was
Bro, it's never about the destination. It's never about the destination.
Well, the journey was that I realized that I am so fucking inconsistent with these type of games. Like I'd go some matches and I'd literally be like MVP. I'd go like 25 kills to like 4 deaths and I'd log them. And then the very next game, I'd go like 4 kills, 20 deaths. And people were calling me very harsh things over chat. And I'm getting a couple of messages.
And people did unspeakable things to my mother in voice chat.
Yeah, I just couldn't even pick it. It wouldn't even be like if I'd be having a good day or a bad day. It's either I'm having a good match or a bad match.
See, there's this phenomenon with fighting games, right? Where when you're playing with your friends, you're too good to play with them. But when you go to a local tournament, you're not good enough to actually hang with those people. So you're in this weird middle ground that
You just don't have anyone
you
to play
can't
against.
actually play with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's your Halo career now.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, and I couldn't really, because I was be playing it at like weird hours as well. Like sometimes we'd be playing it at like 7:30 a.m. before work, or during my lunch break, or at like 8 o'clock on a Friday night. So I get the feeling that I was getting a very diverse range of experience, because the people that are playing it at like 12:30 p.m. on a Wednesday are very different to the people playing it at like 10 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that's what it is. I really did enjoy the journey. I used my Microsoft Rewards points to buy the premium battle pass, so I got like a couple of extra skins and stuff. So yeah, it was good. And to answer your question, Pat, will I go back for season 2? Maybe not. Let's see.
That was my question.
Oh, was it?
No,
someone
don't
asked
listen to it. Don't listen to it.
But to answer that
Host
question,
always
then,
has the best questions.
I don't know if I'll go back for season 2. We'll see what changes. We'll see what they add. If it's more
They
of the
add
same,
blood
I won't.
gulch, I'll play.
What was that?
If they
Yeah,
add blood
Blood
gulch,
Gulch.
I'll play it. Yeah,
Well, it's just a map. Who cares?
it's
The new
nostalgia.
maps. Yeah.
It's the map.
It's the map. Yeah, it's the Halo map.
Yeah,
But like
true.
it doesn't work on 4v4s because the map's too big. Like,
It doesn't need to work on 4v4. Who plays 4v4? Play big team battle and queue indefinitely.
All right.
yeah, just-
Josh. Alternate reality. They give you blood. They give you blood gulch back, but it's only big team battle and the matchmaking's broken. What do you do?
I'd have to reinstall Halo.
Just make a big team battle with friends.
You could do that. Yeah,
I'm
but-
used to blood gulch with 2v2s.
I was
Big
about
line.
to say yeah to be 2v2.
Go back to the split screen days.
Mm.
That'd be cool.
It would be. We'll bring back split. Well, when they bring
If they
back the
brought back,
co-op campaign, we'll go through it in Legendary, Josh.
Oh yeah, I'd be keen. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm definitely down for co-op campaign. I also want them to bring back it's either Firefight or Fireflight. Pretty sure it's Firefight.
Firefight, yeah, they're horde mode
Firefight,
type of
yeah.
thing. Yeah, that's
That
really
was
good.
so much fun.
Not
Yeah.
flyer fight.
No.
Not Firefly, that TV show.
I knew you were gonna make the joke, and I'm sad about it because I'm still so upset that it didn't
Yeah, it
continue.
should never have been fucking cancelled.
Yeah,
Fire festival.
Fire Festival.
Mm.
We're not talking about ScoMo. There's a joke in there.
No, that was the festival of fire.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like this has sufficiently derailed us enough. So the other thing that it sound. Oh, do you have any other thoughts on?
No,
Infinite,
no,
or you want to move on
no,
to Spire?
that was it. I really enjoyed my time with it. If anybody out here wants to 1v1 me on Halo Infinite, don't. You can send me a message. I'll just.
No. It's they can 1v1 you, but it has to be a best of 5, just in case you get a couple
Yeah,
inconsistent rounds in there.
Yeah. Or and if I go like,
when's the best time? When's peak Steve 1v1 time?
I don't fucking know.
10 p.m. on big team battle.
I don't really have a best time. It's just whatever I feel like. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad.
Depends
Sometimes
if you've
when
had
I've got the-
Flintstones Vita gummies yet.
Sometimes, oh yeah. Sometimes it's when I've got the aircon on. Sometimes it's when I'm like sticking to the lounge because I'm that sweaty. Because it's can be bothered turning the aircon on. Who knows?
What a mental image. Cool. Thank you for that. And the other thing you've been up to this week, Slay the Spire.
Well, yeah, I have one last question for you for Halo before we move on. Did you end up finishing the campaign?
Yeah, of course I did. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm fine.
I tried to like 100% it, but there were a couple of things that were locked behind the campaign missions. But
Yeah, and then
you
can
cannot
you
replay
replay
your
them yet?
campaign. No, you can't replay it.
Oh, so dumb. All right,
I'll-
yeah, let's move on.
Bro,
Yeah,
it's coming in
I'll-
DLC.
Like,
Yeah,
It's
no, it's not.
DLC.
It's free DLC, but it's an update. It's a patch.
Free LC.
Free DLC.
You still have to download.
and if you
it,
really want to, could you just start a new, fresh game over?
Yeah, but fuck
but then I
that.
have to. But then I have
You
to
have to redo
recollect all the
everything.
collectibles.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Slay the Spire, right? Yeah, Slay. I couldn't.
I'm sending him to prison.
That one will never get old. Yeah.
That was good, but I really
That's
liked
amazing. We're 3 from 3 of Steve just launching into a game with something that I don't know if we'll redact that one, but
I don't think we
I'll
should.
contemplate it. We'll see. We'll listen
But
to it in post.
It's very tempting.
It is. It's very tempting.
You can edit that out in post, right?
Just leave the yas. Everyone will know what's coming.
We should do Demon Slayer as well. Yes, Demon Slayer. But anyway,
Anyway,
so
so why did you decide that that 5 years was the good oh shoot, what's not fermentation, what is it when you like leave something to distill?
I nearly said gestation period, but isn't that like pregnancy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
ferment?
slightly
Is
different,
ferment the
Josh.
word?
Are you talking about fermenting?
No, that's what I said. I feel like it's fermenting, but there's like a better word for it. Where you look
Let's sit
back and you're
there
like,
for a
oh, it's like finally something aged.
Settled?
I know
but, like,
aged like wine.
Yeah, but like a nicer word than aged. Anyway, why after 5 years, Steve?
I don't know. Like I've heard it's good, and I've heard a lot of people talk good things, but I just decided, you know what, I want something a bit different, something a little bit more I can pick up and play. I got the impression from what people were telling me, it's one of those games that like I'd pick it up, do one run would be about 20 or 30 minutes, and I'd put it down.
No.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. It's a bit longer.
The first couple of runs are usually.
Yeah, you're gonna get fucking.
No. First couple of runs end in like 15 to 20 minutes because you just die.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So essentially, it's like a card-based game that like you draw cards for your attack and your block, and you're using it to sort of climb this spire and essentially kill the spire, like hence the name.
Yeah.
And there's 4 different characters you can choose from, and each character is like a different starting deck, and the cards that they pick up along the way as they sort of defeat enemies and elites, the cards they get change, and you can upgrade them, and it sort of becomes like a balancing act of you don't want too many cards in your deck because you draw 5 every turn, and at the end of your turn you send 5 to the discard pile or whatever the word's called. So you don't want too many cards in your deck because then like you've got just shit cards that you're drawing and it won't do anything. But you don't want too little cards because there's a lot of strategies that you can implement like with the better cards and as they go on.
Yeah. So the whole thing is, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but just to catch anyone that's been in a coma for 5 years, it's a roguelike deck builder.
That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, there we go. Don't worry. I got you. Where you start with a deck of 10 cards, 5 attack cards, 5 defense cards, but every combat encounter, and then also like shops and stuff, but usually you'll use combat encounters to select a new card to add to your deck, but you don't always want to add a card to your deck for the reasons that Steve just gave. So the idea is that by the end of your run, where you have to go through 3 areas, each one with like a boss at the end of each area. It's like every other roguelike. You want a synergy in a deck that means that you have a strategy that you can play and hopefully win. And RNG will sometimes kick you in the teeth and you won't have anything, and sometimes you'll just have the master stroke of God himself.
Yeah, that's essentially it.
So on the back of that, there are 4 very distinctive classes, as you pointed out. Which have you been playing?
So I try to do like a rotation of all of them just to see what they like and which one I don't like. I'm really enjoying, I think it's called the Silent, and that's one of that deals with the poisoners or the assassin type skills.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to work at the start, but it sort of just ended up clicking for me at the end, and you just get like a lot of poison sacking. And I absolutely fucking hate the Ironclad, which is this night card, and essentially it's pretty much just you're building up your block and then you're attacking, and that's sort of it. There's no really, it's just essentially ooga boogering it. And I just cannot fucking do it. I don't know what it is. I get to like the second boss and he defeats me, or I get to the third boss and I just sort of
and he defeats you.
Yeah, it just sort of feels like I just sort of I just can't get it. Like I just can't get it. I don't know what it is. Maybe the Iron. I do think because I did look at a couple of strats, like how to play him, and essentially it is just block go up, attack go up, all the best.
Yeah, it's unga bunga. It's brain switch off, big damage.
Yeah, essentially. And I get the feeling I'm always getting ruined by the RNG. Like they give me like weird cards that are like, oh, every time you draw a status card, deal 6 damage. And I'm like, well, I've got no status cards in my deck. Like it's, I'm like, stop giving me this fucking card. But I'll just keep chopping away at it. Like I've beaten it. Well, I've essentially climbed to the top of the Spire with both the Silent and what's the robot one that does the electric damage?
The Defect.
The Defect, yeah, that was it. Yeah, I did both of them. And it's just I've done like 4 more tries with the Ironclad and I just can't do it. But I'll get there. Maybe I'll get like so another thing that I didn't really mention, that you can fight like elite enemies that are sort of like a bit stronger than your normal enemies, and instead of getting a card you do get cards, sorry, but you get a relic as well. And a relic can really change how you run. Like some of them will allow you to recover HP, some of them will give you a free potion, and some of them will like sort of change combat in a way that like doesn't make sense. Like for every 2 cards you draw, you have to discard 1, and then you can add it back to your draw pile later. Like it's the relics do sort of change things up, but they are very heavily RNG based on what you get. Because I think from what I was reading online, there's a pool of like 150 of them, and there's no way of knowing what you're going to get. And some are useful, some are not useful.
It's true. Josh, you also have played Slay the Spire, not recently, but at some point, right?
Yeah, like a couple of years back. I never completed it with all of the characters. I think I only used the poison lad. I don't remember his name.
The Silent.
There's the Silent, yeah. I think I used him to do the one run I actually managed to complete. So that was interesting. I like that all the different characters play differently. I think the only thing I really add to what you guys are saying is that as you climb the levels of the Spire, you choose different pathways that can affect like what you do. So you might go to the shop, or you might rest at a campfire to like recover HP, or you might choose to keep fighting like the mini bosses or whatever to get better rewards. So there's like there's a lot of choice in it as well. It's not like a standard you pick a linear pathway and you go down this thing. It's a roguelike with a lot of options, basically, is sort of what I'm trying to get at, which is made a lot of fun.
And Saif, you haven't played it, or you're just sitting
No,
quietly
I haven't.
about to flex your having finished it with all of the characters on max ascension, yada yada?
No, I haven't. I would have liked to. That would sound like a very good segue to make, but no. Slay the Spire is something I've heard of, like people talk about it, and it sounds really cool, but it's not something I've actually checked out myself yet.
Fair
It's on
enough.
pretty much everything now. I found out the other day that it's on phones. Don't you have phones? It's on phones. It's on Switch.
Is this now
it's
season
on...
April Fool's joke?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like
no,
Activision Blizzard. Yes.
I think it's on
Oh,
literally.
can't wait to talk
everything
about
except
them
Epic.
later.
Yeah. Well, what week don't we talk about them? But
Stay
yeah, I think
tuned
it's
for
on
that
like
in 20
literally
minutes.
everything except Epic at this point. Like it's on Game Pass. It's on like literally everything. So give it a go.
Imagine releasing
And
on
it's cheap.
Epic.
I think it's like $13.
Imagine making a big deal about releasing on Epic.
Yeah. Borderlands 3 looking at you.
I mean, that was just because they liked money, which I also like money, but that one I can kind of see.
Yeah.
So it went the other way.
Yeah, fair. Until then, they released on Steam, and then everyone that wanted to buy it on Steam bought it on Steam.
Yeah, exactly.
Epic. Yeah.
Everyone that wanted to buy it on Epic but didn't bother bought it on Steam.
Yeah, pretty much.
What I was going to ask on the back. Oh, actually, one comment just on that though. I haven't played it on phone. I picked it up on Switch. Actually, I played it a fair amount over the Christmas break, just gone actually, and it's really well optimized for the Switch to the point where I was playing it with button presses, and then I just realized that it's also just fully like touchscreen-able.
I was going to ask if it's touchscreen. That's cool.
Yeah, and
cool.
And it's kind of a nice touch like that. And so I assume on the back of that it would also be the same for phones. Working with touchscreen. But yeah, super well optimized, and the graphics, they're not stellar, but they're good enough that you're not really playing it for the graphics. But yeah, works really well on Switch. What I was going to ask though is that from a couple weeks ago, pretty much everyone from pretty much everyone here, I think they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! A couple weeks ago, and that one obviously is a competitive deck. I don't know if you call it a deck builder, but trading card game. Slay the Spire is a very single player focus. It doesn't have any multiplayer at all. Is there a preference that you guys have? I'm looking for just like real quick interest. It's out of interest question. Should we start with you, Steve?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. I think deck building games do have their place, and I'll pick one up every 6 months. But it's pretty much I'll pick them up and be like, cool, I'm done with it. Thanks for the memories. I mean, trading card games, I tend not to get into them just because either it's a really big time sink in learning the rules and the mechanics, and then it can also be a big money sink if you're playing a physical one, trying to get all the cards and stuff. So probably prefer deck builders to trading card games, but I don't really think they're comparable though.
I want to ask why not, but I also don't really care.
Josh, tell us what you really think.
Josh, what about you?
I much prefer single player card games. I have no interest in building a meta and then sticking to that meta. And if I'm not using the meta in a competitive card game, then why bother playing? So I definitely prefer the single player experience for card games.
Fair enough. And Seth?
I'm also of the single player thing, mostly because of that meta reason, but also at the same time, I kind of don't agree with what Josh just said in that if I'm not playing the meta, why bother? Because I haven't been playing the meta in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and I've been having a ton of fun just wrecking other people with Dark Magicians, and they're so not meta.
Yeah, but if you played it enough, you get to a point where you hit a cap and then you verse meta decks and then you just lose until you get to the point where you drop far enough down that you can verse people without them again. So that just makes it not fun. If there was like unranked modes, I'd play just unranked modes.
Yeah, on TCGs, I'd just rather play like people using decks for fun, while I also use decks for fun.
Yeah,
which is where I think the single player ones more come around, because then it's just like, oh, all these mechanics, I can make what I want and just have fun in a single player environment. In saying that, I think the only like single player card game I've played is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, which is such a weird one to do.
Such a bad game.
Yeah, it's such a the first deck builder, some might say.
What is it? The PvP card game in Final Fantasy VIII goes pretty hard though.
Oh, Triple Triad is so good.
Triple Triad's in Final Fantasy XIV, and I've spent way too long playing it.
You guys
Yeah, because you win cards off NPCs,
Yeah.
so you just sit there and play the NPCs for ages, getting cards off them.
Yeah, there was so what was it? It was Final Fantasy VIII. Didn't finish the game, spent way too long playing card games against randoms. And then also Assassin's Creed 3, not a card game, but as soon as you get off the ship, which is like 5 minutes into the game, you're walking along a dock and some dude's just like, hey, want to gamble? And I went, yes.
Oh man, oh god, there's a trophy related to playing that one of the board games in that, and it was the absolute worst time I ever had.
Did we all play Gwent?
Yes.
I haven't played the Witcher games.
No, I haven't
Oh.
either.
What are you
I know
boys
Gwent from
doing?
Witcher, but
It's pretty good. Yeah, actually,
it's
it's
really
not
good.
bad. Yeah, it's not Triple Triad, but it's fun.
Did you guys ever play Knights of the Old Republic and they had that Berserk game in it?
I've seen it, but I haven't played it
It's
myself.
So good. I've played a lot of that.
fair enough. The only other sorry, Steve, for before. Do you have like a sentence summary for why to back up your thoughts from before, or
Not in a sentence. but
yeah, no, that's cool.
yeah.
Just
maybe for another day.
Yeah, exactly. If we had more time, I'd be interested to get into that. But it was a tangent already. I'm not going to tangent to tangent. I was going to say that I also enjoy the single player card game experience, but you guys were all touching mechanics, which fair enough. I think the mechanics in single player games are generally more open ended or designed for exploitation. But the other side of it is that when you're not focusing on a competitive experience and that need to win, you get to focus on a lot of the softer aspects of it, like even thematically. And I'm thinking more towards sort of what Inscription does, where there's no multiplayer, but the entire environment that you play Inscription within is stellar and suits a single player card game / deck builder perfectly. That was pretty much all I had to say on that. Any other thoughts on Slay the Spire? Steve, you gonna be playing it much next week, or you want to give your closing thoughts on it now?
I'll probably spend a couple more, like one more weekend on it. If it was like one of those games that like you'll pick up, put an hour into it, then put it down, and that's sort of what I'm doing at this stage. I'm really enjoying it. If you're into sort of deck building card games, I highly recommend it. If you, for some reason, you haven't played it, if you haven't really played a bit or heard of it, it's pretty cheap. It's only like $10, $11. Probably look up some videos beforehand, because it can probably get a bit frustrating if you sort of don't know what you're in for. And it's a bit less RNG than what I thought it was going to be. So I'm pleasantly surprised with that. But yeah, I'm happily recommend this to anybody to anybody actually.
Anybody,
Yeah.
Especially if they have Game Pass.
even child murderers,
Yes.
Well,
like
they're like a good
murderers.
game.
No, sorry, not people that kill children who are murderers.
Yes.
Don't they play Hearthstone?
I played Hearthstone for a bit.
It's quite
Are you-
fun, actually.
Who have you
Oh, it
killed?
used to be.
Wait,
What?
you guys are both speaking at the same. Sorry, what was that?
Who'd you kill if you're a child murderer?
What are
Josh,
you?
why?
I what? I've so completely lost my train of thought now. No, I just said Hearthstone used to be fun. I played the beta like religiously, and then it released day one, and I was like, I don't want to play this anymore.
I was around people that played it way more than I ever did, but it was interesting. I really enjoyed backseat gaming Hearthstone rather than playing it myself. I don't really know why. Might have just been that they had dedication to cards that I just couldn't be bothered getting.
When it came out, I was really into Tekken, the mobile card game by Capcom. And for a couple of seasons, I played that game pretty religiously. And then I got to a point where I did actually have a pretty good deck, like not meta deck, but something that was pretty consistently strong and got me into champion ranks.
Isn't Teppen the one that like costs people their house amount of money to get good decks?
I'm not sure, actually.
Seth, how many houses do you own?
None.
Oh, you're
in
on
this
the
economy.
end.
In this economy, who can own a house?
True.
You forget we're living in Sydney.
Yeah. But like the next season, like the meta completely shifted because they introduced a new mechanic, and it was around the element of decks that I didn't play, so I just completely fell off the game at that point.
Fair enough.
It's pendulum Teppen.
No, cool. Thank you for that, Steve. Any other things you wanted to add to Run a Lounge? I think that was everything that you had down.
Yeah, that was it for me. It's time for me to get off the lounge. Is that how it works?
I think we just rotate chairs. It's like musical chairs. We just kind of well, I don't shuffle. I'm in the host chair, but you guys shuffle along one. There's like a large black couch in the middle. And then there's like there's like a kiddie table with two small plastic chairs on one side. There's like waterproof tops everywhere. It's kind of weird. It's like a weird setup, but
is it like a talking stick type of situation?
there's like a bin on the small plastic kids table, and it's just full of like knockoff magic conches from SpongeBob SquarePants.
This is like the most poverty late night host sort of set that I've ever seen, and it's just every time it's our turn, we just have to rotate around who's backstage and who's in the front in the hot seat.
It's like shoot.
What's that movie where the dude like puts down all the tarps and then kills the chick with the axe after putting on the album?
American Psycho.
Yeah.
American Psycho. It sounds like American Psycho to me.
It's a better book, fun fact. Read the book, don't watch the movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I might
the book's pretty
read it.
fucked
I was
up.
looking for a book to read actually.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. I'll be quite honest. Don't read it at night time.
Oh, that bad, huh?
All right.
I'm gonna read it at nighttime now.
All right, no sleep for you.
That's when the book's most likely to kill you. It feeds at night.
The book is actually a mimic.
Anyway, getting wildly off topic once again. Welcome back to the Off Topic Cast. Thank you for that, Steve. And so finally, Guardians of the Galaxy chat. That's right, a game that actually came out in the last 365 days. Crazy. Seth.
Yeah, it was like
tell us about
October-ish, I think.
Voice of Cards did, for the record.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But just the common theme we've had for the past couple is like, oh man, there's all these games that are out. Let's just review stuff from like 3 to 5 years ago.
I play the games that I know I'm gonna like.
Fair enough. But Seth, you played it a bit last week. If people want to go back and listen to the preamble, then they can do that. But I think maybe we'll just continue that chat. So you were a couple hours in, you shared some thoughts, your favorite moments involved 80s music. That was basically the TLDR. So what else have you done? What else have you learned?
Yeah, so last week I was about chapter 5 or 6-ish, which was probably about 5-6 hours into the game, I guess. A bit further than I actually thought initially. Overall, the game took me about 18 hours to complete. And I'm actually kind of surprised because I enjoyed this game more than I thought I would. Like, a lot of people were saying that it was a sleeper hit for last year. And I don't know, sometimes people say that and it doesn't really come off that way when I eventually play it, but this was actually a surprisingly decent game, especially after the E3 showcase where they announced it, and it was just like people they just spent so long on this game when they announced it at E3 that people were just so against it even happening. But it turned out for the better. A downer note for me though is that I'm a little annoyed because I'm about 6 trophies away from the platinum trophy. And I'm going to have to replay the entire game to do that because it's the last 2 of the trophies I have to do are based on collectibles, but your collectibles don't stick to your save file when you do chapter select. So I just have to do a full on.
Yuck! Absolutely fucking disgusting. Yuck.
Yeah,
It's
it's
when you
so
just drop
bad.
the game. No thanks.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not going to support a platinum for that reason alone.
But if it's good enough, like you could argue another
18
playthrough.
hours of the same content though. Good
Yeah,
enough?
it's 18 hours and the gameplay doesn't really hold up enough for a second playthrough.
But the 80s music.
If you go back in like 18 months or 2 years or something, it might like seem like an old friend type of thing.
Yeah, it's something that if I was to revisit the game later, then
Yeah.
I'd chuck open a guide to make sure I get all the collectibles, because it's also rough because this game's pretty strictly linear in the fact that every now and then you'll go through like a squeeze through or a small hallway, and then you can't backtrack anymore.
The
even though-
Uncharted system.
Yeah, the old
Yeah.
going through a tunnel, eh?
Yep, but even though like the tunnel didn't collapse or anything, you can see the other side is still fine. It'll
Yeah.
just you crawl in, and then the game will automatically U-turn you and go, no, don't go follow the path.
Can't have Marvel people being too free thinking, then their movies don't do well.
I mean,
You just
yeah,
gonna use this shit on Marvel, eh,
this-
Josh?
Yeah.
Hating
this
popular things
is
doesn't
the
ma-
game where the main character is played by Chris Pratt in the MCU.
Hating popular things doesn't make you cool, Josh.
It's just boring. They're all the same movie.
So,
All the superhero movies are the same movie.
well, if you really distill it, every movie's the same. Something happens, and something else happens, and something finishes it, and the credits roll.
Every movie follows the hero's journey.
Yeah, I can really see the similarities between Trainspotting and Shrek. Yeah.
Every movie has an Act 1, an Act 2, and an Act 3. When you break it down that way, how can you ever enjoy another movie ever again?
Every movie starts, and every movie finishes.
And every movie has a middle.
This says a lot about our society.
I've heard that every movie that starts has to have an ending. Even if you don't know what it is, it has to end at some point.
What about the never-ending story?
That had an ending. It was blatantly false advertising.
It did. It was quite long though, I think.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it tried to hype itself up being never ending. I'd hope it wasn't just like a 20-minute run and done.
But yeah, rolling off the Marvel movie stuff though, the characters in this are like character-wise and in some of them costume design-wise, they do heavily lean into the MCU versions of the characters. But they're keeping all like the comic-y type backstories and motivations for these characters. So early on, they mentioned that Drax killed Thanos, which is something that's from the comic lines, and a few other small things that they have a completely different backstory for Star-Lord, which is more based on the comic version of his character rather than the MCU version where they completely changed his origins in the movies.
So
Just
the
didn't
story,
like Chris
so the story
Pratt.
that you're playing through in Guardians of the Galaxy is completely separate to the movie Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, and it's also completely separate from the other Square Enix Marvel game, Marvel's Avengers. They really wanted to make sure that people knew that they were separated. So
I wonder why. That game
yeah,
got good reviews, didn't it?
It's on GameSpot.
Avengers was received very well, especially because it's on Game Pass.
Oh yeah. No,
Turn
everyone
off
should
that.
definitely play that one.
Just in case you
Please-
can't hear the
please.
sarcasm, I don't want to be advocating for that Avengers game. Please do not
yeah,
play it.
yeah. I was about to say, please do not play that game. We're joking. This is a bit. This is a bit. Do not trust us.
We need a bit warning.
Yeah.
Because my opinions are always wrong. Do you think I'll like that game?
The Avengers game? No, I think that's even
It's
not even
beyond
you'd
redemption.
be able to like.
Yeah.
Not even you'd be able to devil's advocate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably right.
And I don't hate you that much that I'd force you to do it, or even waste the time downloading it, let alone playing it.
Yeah, I've heard as much.
Yeah. And while I'm also on like the little bit of negatives based on that trophy thing, the game's also very glitchy. Like not in a game-breaking way, but in a
In like the fun T-posy way or the non-fun like Y-posy way?
there was subtitles didn't load in. Characters were doing their idle animations, but for some reason their weapons were sticking to like where they're meant to magnetize with their hands. So like Drax will be sitting there with his arms crossed and his blades are just stabbing through his chest. Or Gamora will be sitting there with her hands in her legs and her sword's just sitting across her lap, sort of thing.
I'm failing to see how this is a negative.
There were a couple of times where it just kind of halted progression for a little bit.
Because they had to get medical attention for the this weapon sticking through their chest, or
For those, and also for sometimes you give your as you're exploring, you give commands to the characters. Like you'll come across a wall that needs to be broken down, so you're like, "Hey Drax, go break down this wall," or "Hey Gamora, there's a bunch of wires here. Can you cut them down?"
can you get Gamora to break through the wall?
No, you can't. Unfortunately, she's not a very strong woman. She's just very deadly.
I'd really like the system where she just gives it her best shot.
Yeah. No, you can try and tell people to do the wrong job, and they'll just reply, "No, that's not my thing," or "You're looking at the wrong person sort of thing.
I want Drax to be involved in cutting the blue wire to save like a bomb going off.
Yeah, God. I'm actually surprised because Drax is very well written in this game.
But they had a lot of source material to work with. Dave Bautista was fantastic.
Yeah, they go with that characterization of him where he's very literal and can't lie for shit. So he's very forthcoming about everything, and he has a major arc in this game. It's paid off very well, and he comes out as one of the better written characters in the game.
Oh, that's cool. Good on Drax.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the glitch thing for a moment. Yeah, it was just like every now and then, I just get a glitch that halted progression, so I just have to restart a checkpoint, and that would fix it. So like minor inconveniences every now and then. So since I mentioned Drax, I'll also go on that all the characters are written very well, and the story is actually kind of endearing in in a very good way. I wasn't expecting the story to be as strong as it was, and I can definitely see why it was nominated for like Best Writing and Best Story awards last year. I'm not surprised it lost in those categories. But it does stand out as like one of the higher caliber ones for games that came out last year, at least from what I can tell. There's about 3 or 4 plot threads that are always being brought up throughout the game, and they all come together in the conclusion very nicely. Like in promotional material, they showed off that the Guardians piss off this character called Lady Hellbender, and she stays relevant throughout pretty much the whole game. She gets introduced in Chapter 3, and she lasts until basically the ending of the game. And she has a very good payoff at the end as well. The Guardians' relationship with her is paid off very well. There's a lot of good character interactions as well, and characters banter a lot. Sometimes in an annoying way, like I'll be going around, maybe going to a dead end track, but I know that it's a dead end, but I also know that in games like these, they'll put a little collectible at the end of dead ends. So I'll want to go like quickly scope it out, and then like as soon as I take that alternate path, the other characters coming with me will start to give me shit for it. And I get that was done on purpose, but it does get a little grating after a few hours.
I mean, all you're trying to do is collectible hunt, and then you got Groot just going, "I am Groot," and you're like, "Yeah, bro, I get it. All right, I know.
Yeah.
Just let me get this collectible."
Rocket's standing there like, does he know he's going the wrong way? And Gamora will chime in like, yeah, but we have to let him think that he's doing something important.
and you're just sitting there trying not to cry, picking up a collectible.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones actually is like, very early in the game, you're arrested, and this little 12-year-old officer is escorting you through the through some pathways, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll give you the same respects that I give other people, as like an optional dialogue thing. And she starts talking about, oh, okay, thank you. But as she's going on for that, I start walking down an alternate path where I know there's a collectible, and she interrupts herself to go, I can't believe you're doing this. You just said you're going to respect me and treat me like you would any other officer, and you're going around walking around behind my back. And immediately Star-Lord replies, yeah, I told you, I'm giving you the same respect I'd give other officers.
That's cool. That's a nice touch.
Yeah. Throughout the whole game, there's also like... So, like I just mentioned, that was an optional dialogue thing I could do. Throughout the whole game, there's like this Telltale or Mass Effects-like system where it'll give you optional dialogue choices, and like trust and things will carry you along throughout the game based on your decisions.
Can you punch a reporter?
Oh, not
Mass Effect intensifies.
Not that I saw. No,
that's a knowing laugh, Josh.
Yeah,
you're as bad a person as I am.
I know that exact thing as well, and I haven't even played Mass Effect.
Yeah. Take that, mainstream media.
What's that? You work for News Corp?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like these trust things did actually play into the game very well, and yeah, a second playthrough of the game would actually be pretty decent just to see what alternate paths these things would give. because like early on in the game, like chapter 2, where I'm being escorted around the prison, as I'm talking to this 12-year-old officer, I'm slowly gaining her trust to the point where by the end of the chapter, she has to hide something. So she trusted me enough to give me a security key card that
Where'd you hide it?
immediately you just hide it in your pocket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing fun. She just kind of
never
hands it-
mind. No, we're just gonna move on.
Quite up the
No,
prison
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but that key card doesn't have any immediate use, but because she gave it to me like 5, 6, 7 hours later, it came into effect and helps me throughout a level to give me easier pathways. So just some minor things like that, some more story relevant things are also possibilities. So yeah, a second playthrough wouldn't be too bad just to see those, but I need to give the game some time to rest before I go through it a second time.
Yeah, because you were saying that the combat doesn't hold up. So it sounds like the story could hold up because you've got alternate pathways to investigate the other side of it. But it seems like the combat, was that just because it's a bit samey, or you've just kind of seen it all?
Yeah, it's not fantastic, and it's passable, but it also kind of gets very samey as it goes on. I feel like the waves of enemies get a bit too much as you start getting to the end of the game, which I guess is also kind of like on purpose because it's meant to be this massive final rush, but also just kind of generally throughout the game, they pepper in enough enemies to just kind of keep you engaged in the combat as you're going, but it's kind of repetitive.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so it's passable, but like nothing to write home about, but it's also not like bad enough to complain about.
Did you get this game on sale or did you pay full price for it?
I got it on sale. Like there was a Christmas sale going on last year, so I just got it with a bunch of other things. So I was pretty happy with the price I paid for it. I paid like 60 Australian for it.
Ooh. Oh wait, so you got
Yeah,
it
it
on
was
PS5?
Yeah, I got it on
Ah.
PS5.
Okay.
I was waiting for Steve to make a Dragon Ball Breakers joke.
Yeah, well, I'm still $60 isn't on sale for me. If I pay more than $30 for it, actually, well, anime games I'll pay $35 for because they fucking never come down. And Nintendo games you always have to pay full price because they never come down
Why?
as well.
Why that distinction?
I don't know.
$30 for a regular game, 35 for the anime I like.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like I don't know what it is. Like when I bought One Piece a while ago, it was $35 just for the standard edition. I'm thinking about picking up Dragon Ball Kakarot. That never drops below
No,
$35.
don't. Oh my god, it's so bad. Oh, I
You keep
paid
saying-
way more for it than I did for Fighter Z, and Fighter Z is infinitely better.
Yeah, I paid like
Oh.
what $18 for Fighter Z. I'll give it that.
So I
That
paid
was
like
pretty
Speaking
full
of-
price almost for Kakarot, and I played about 3 hours, and I was like, I can't play this game. This is absolute garbage. Oh, do not recommend.
Speaking of Fighter Z, Android 21 in her lab coat just came out, so I got to go play that game again soon.
But you're gonna play Dragon Ball Breakers, but when's that out? That's gotta be soon.
They haven't said.
Oh,
They haven't said anything about it. They did give an update recently about it, but let's not get into that.
They're still off celebrating, spending all that money of Seth's pre-order on cocaine.
they got one sale.
Man,
Yeah, they celebrating that one sale. They made that money stretch.
yeah, I don't know how much cocaine you can get off $80, but good for them.
And the one I think you've touched everything in the laundry list of points, but the one thing that you've got way down the bottom that's like double underlined, bold faced, like written in a different font. Cosmo is a good boy.
Yeah, Cosmo is the Russian space dog. Like, I think this is based on a real thing where
Russian.
Russia launched
Can't
a dog
be a
into
good boy
space.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Haha, political humor.
Yeah.
You've got it all.
dear.
Brushing that aside real quick.
I'm scared.
Cosmo is a dog in space that gets telepathic powers, and
Oh my god, he is Russian.
He's a spy.
yeah. He comes up every now and then. You have to save him from the things that are going on. But there's just a line that made me lose it where you call him a good boy, and it just in like the most like forceful voice he just goes, "Niet, I am the best boy." and then in the end credits they're showing like pictures of the characters and like where are they now sort of text, and they end on a picture of Cosmo and it says Cosmo remained the best boy.
Damn.
That's pretty
So
good.
yeah, Cosmo is a pretty good boy. Telepathic dog in space. Absolutely love him.
Sailor's Wonder.
Telepathic dog in space. I feel like that's a couple ticks in the right direction in anyone's book. But on the back of that, we should probably give it some closing thoughts and a score.
Yeah, so I was going back and forth on this for a little bit, like leading up to this. I think I'm going to stick with an 8 out of 10. I was considering dropping it down to the 7 because of the glitches, but in the end I felt they were a bit too like some of them are like funny, but the ones that were blocking progression were like very minor and just like quickly reload the checkpoint, you're back in it sort of thing. And the story does elevate it to a point where it makes up for the gameplay being a bit just middling, and the use of the licensed tracks in this are actually phenomenal. Like, I would recommend not playing this game with the licensed music disabled just because of how good they're used in both gameplay and cutscenes.
And with that, that brings us to the end of Round the Lounge for this week. Thank you to everyone for that. And we move on to part 2, which is news. And starting the news this week, we have the answer to what the Capcom countdown was. Saif, you were particularly opinionated about this. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, shit, how do I phrase this? It was a very flaccid announcement because they made us wait a week and then an additional half hour because a tournament was going behind schedule before they announced these.
I love the idea that you're about to talk about this and you're like rolling up your sleeves, just preparing to like get stuck into this.
Yeah. So yeah, because there's a bit of a story behind it. This announcement for the countdown got delayed because there was a Street Fighter V tournament going on. And literally everyone was watching the tournament just to see what the announcement was. We all knew it was Street Fighter VI going into it, but we just wanted to see it. And I've never seen so many people just want Daigo to lose a tournament faster. But he somehow kept trying to make the comeback happen, and it just wouldn't happen. So Daigo is now an unpopular figure for that one day.
I love the idea of trying to build hype in the grand finals of a tournament, and you're like down a set, and the audience is like, "Oh, maybe he's out," and then you come back, and the audience is like, "Boo!"
Just lose already.
Don't take it to game 5. Just lose.
It was a first of 5 set as well, so yeah, people didn't want it to go to game 7 of game 9. Yeah, game 9.
Yeah, 9. Yeah, 9 from 5. Yeah. But yeah, so what? Everyone's just sitting there quietly waiting for 30 minutes for this game to finish?
Yeah, and then as soon as the game finishes, they go to the commentator table and they're like, "Oh, hey, we got some news coming up, but before we do that, we're going to discuss the tournament for a second," and then winked at the camera, and that just got everyone riled up, and we had to sit through the commentators talking about the last couple of matches before we actually got the announcements. It was so bad. But yeah, once we got through all that bullshit, we got Capcom Fighting Collection announced for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. It's coming with 10 games, most of them Darkstalkers, but some other older Capcom fighting games. And the most important announcement, they all have rollback netcode.
Hey!
You sure the most important announcement wasn't the font change?
No, that's coming up later.
Yeah, I know.
This is the most important thing for these games.
Okay, I thought you meant total.
Capcom Fighting Collection's coming out June 24th worldwide for $40. It looks pretty good, and a lot of people are already saying, hey, if you want more Darkstalkers games to come out, then make sure you buy this collection. I will also kind of mimic that, but I will also say it's kind of bullshit that Darkstalkers fans keep getting plays like this, because they've had to buy like three separate collections with the minuscule promise that Darkstalkers would come back if people just dumped money into those collections. But what can you do? Capcom test be a Capcom test. And yeah, following this, we got a very flaccid 30-second trailer of Street Fighter VI, which has a logo straight up stolen from an Adobe website.
I've seen a couple of things where it looks like a lot of other logos. They obviously put 3 seconds into that logo, and it's so jarring because the logo is so different to what it used to look like. You know, like all the other previous ones, it's so off-brand.
Yeah, it's more minimalist and kind of it kind of looks like they're pushing like a UFC direction with this new logo. is what a lot of people gather.
Yeah, I can kind of see
And
that.
I can kind of see that it feels more esportsy in that way.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
definitely true.
But at the same time, we've only seen 30 seconds of it, so
I think it's
Yeah,
just also going to be a lot easier to sell on merch and stuff. It's just a logo you can slap on things.
Can we
Yeah,
also
definitely.
can we also talk about the amount of goiter on some of the characters' faces and how like almost triangular they are, even though they're going for semi-realistic graphics?
Ryu is a brick shithouse in this. That man is wide.
yeah, he's doing the run it straight challenge and he's going through anybody.
They also, so to say what's in this trailer, they show Ryu looking like a fucking beast. They show the new character Luke, who showed up at the end of Street Fighter V's DLC cycle and was very much advertised as the future Street Fighter character, like he'd be a main character for Street Fighter 6. So they showed both of those off. Luke looks so much better in this engine than he did in Street Fighter 5. It's kind of nuts how much better he looks now. And people are speculating this is the RE engine. Everything looks like it was in engine because they did a close up of Ryu's feet, and those feet looks like they were game model feet.
You're excited.
Josh, your professional opinion?
Yeah, it
No.
sounds like you're excited, Seth.
No,
for the
I was
feet.
deliberately staying silent so that you guys would leave me alone.
Josh, rate these feet out of 10, please.
0, like all feet.
So we take the opposite, and we take the opposite of that, and we get Josh's true opinion.
Yes, I'm sure.
People have been mentioning like the muscle deformation in this is like very impressive as well. And not something you see in a lot of fighting games. But yeah, a week countdown for this 30-second trailer is very anticlimactic in my opinion. I would have liked to see some like match footage if they were going to try and hype it up like this.
You could have even just said you would like to see more than a 30-second trailer.
Yeah, but like even if it was snippets of gameplay, I would have been happy. But no, we just got like a 30-second hype trailer that says expects more news in summer.
Oh boy, and a countdown.
Yeah, another countdown.
Yeah, countdown till
to
summer,
summer.
baby. But the next countdown on the list, the Soul Hackers countdown. Who wants to talk about this one?
I'll also take it over for this one because I'm genuinely excited for this. Soul Hackers was a PlayStation 1 and Dreamcast RPG by Atlas, and it got a remake on 3DS like 10 years ago. So it's hit its 25th anniversary this year, and to celebrate, they're doing a second game in the series. And it's being done by the same people that, like the same team that did Tokyo Mirage Session. So you can kind of expect that style going into it. It's a very bright and colorful game. Looks kind of like cyber techno punky sort of aesthetic. Looks really interesting, and it's coming out Japan August 25th, and on my birthday, the rest of the world August 26th.
Happy birthday.
Wow, good way to shill your birthday there, Seth.
I reckon.
Yeah. Anyone wants to get me a birthday present? You know where to look.
Elden Ring, right?
Give them your address. That way they know where to send it to.
Just
Yeah,
get
please
me a
dox
digital
yourself.
copy.
A digital copy.
Yeah. You know where to send the emails.
So how close does Soul Hackers play towards Persona?
Yeah, most Atlas games play pretty similar to each other, so it's not going to be that far off from everything like Persona or SMT. Like there's some minor differences in like SMT. You have instead of other party members, the demons are your party members, while Persona is like you have your party and then you summon demons. And this Soul Hackers game is, they haven't shown too much of what it's going to be like, but it's going to be the same sort of turn-based system that they usually have. And they've shown off the 4-player party, so you do have a party system in. And like the use of demons hasn't been mentioned all that much yet.
Okay, well,
Cool.
look, as long as it doesn't have social links, I sleep. I'll be honest with you.
It might have social links.
You need the practice for going out in public, Steve.
Well, I use it as a replacement for going out in public, to be honest.
Yeah, close enough. Next up on the list, we have some Nier Automata news. They're getting an anime Yay? Are we yay or
Yeah,
are we?
we
nay
yeah,
for
we
this?
yayin. Yeah,
We
it's a
yay.
big win. Big win.
We're yay on that.
We're yay.
Oh,
Okay.
Big win.
Shut the fuck up,
yay.
Josh.
No. So I would love more Automata content and Nier content in general, right? But man, God, I hope it goes well. Because if it doesn't do well, like if it's not good, I'm gonna be really upset, and it's gonna ruin a lot of love I have for that franchise. So I really hope they do a good job.
Yeah, I also hope that they do a good job. Most adaptations don't end up on the good side.
Yeah, especially games that get made into things usually are not done well. So I hope this is one of the exceptions.
Yeah, I think most of like the writing and directorial team is on for the anime, so there's some hope there if like Yoko Taro is on board.
So we're near to some more anime, eh?
Can we move on? I guess we can't because there's more Nier news actually.
We're near some more ones.
So everyone's least favorite game that's coming out soon, Babylon's Fall, which I think comes out this weekend actually. They just announced that in season 1 of the game's live service outing, season 1 will have Nier Automata content. So they're trying to sucker in Nier fans into playing this game early because no one else is interested.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd still have zero interest in playing it.
Likewise. This is the most evil thing they could have done for that game.
Yeah. I almost want to say hopefully it works out, but I also kind of hope it doesn't. I don't know. That sort of approach is always messy.
This is like the first step Platinum is having into a live service game, and I want this to do like bad enough that it steers them away from trying again.
On a discussion thread about that on Twitter, someone actually name dropped Deep Rock Galactic, which is a bit of a familiar name around these parts. In that when they introduced seasonal content, they made it so that all seasonal content when the season itself is finished just gets added as in-game drops, just at rare % chances for just playing through the game. So there'll be. So what I mean is, because I'm explaining this really weirdly, they did the first of many seasons, which wrapped up or is wrapping up soon. It might have wrapped up already for Deep Rock Galactic, but within that was a whole bunch of locked content to the season, like cosmetics and I think it was mostly cosmetics actually. But what they're doing is that now that they're either, as I said, I don't know when, but either they're now into season 2 or going into season 2, they're still keeping all the season 1 stuff. It's just added as % drops to just playing the game, which is a really cool way to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that would be a pretty interesting way to handle things.
Yeah, they've done all of their season and like battle pass stuff extremely well. Model example.
Deep Rock Galactic, great game. Go and play it. Listen to my thoughts on most of our first couple episodes.
Crash Team Racing actually did a similar thing, now that I'm thinking about it, because they had seasonal events, but they made it so that it was very easy to get the things people care about without having to spend any money. And once the season was over, they just randomly showed up in the in-game microtransaction store.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. Next up in the news, we had an update to Dota 2. Finally, the post-TI update, big update, changes a bunch of stuff. It would take me 3 hours to go through all the changes, and there are better placed sources to go through that if that's what you're into. But the main takeaway is that we have a new hero coming, Primal Beast, which is interesting because Primal Beast was the final boss that you fought in Aghanim's Labyrinth, which is, I assume, wrapped up as part of this update, which is a shame because that was the main thing I was playing in Dota 2 for the last few months. But it's weird in that it seems like just from the gameplay footage that they're showing of him, that he might be the biggest character model added. So he was a big guy that you fought at the end of Aghanim's, but it seems like they've shrunk him a little bit, but he's still ginormous relative to the average hero size in Dota 2. So I'm curious to see how that'll play out, because you get weird interactions in Aghanim's Labyrinth or anything in Dota really when things are that size. The hitbox is just it's kind of like a weirdly large hitbox around the model itself, so you'll try and click past it and accidentally click on it, you know what I mean? So I'm wondering if that'll be a thing that happens to Dota 2 as well. But we'll have to wait and see. On the
He
other
had some pretty
interesting
cool
change is
skills,
that
right?
it looks like they're adding a shit ton of the jungle creeps back, which would be cool. What was that, Josh?
He had some pretty cool skills too, and yes, jungle creeps. I might actually play Dota again if jungle is actually viable again.
Not laning. The whole thing is that they're making it harder. They're making the risk reward ratio go up. So jungle creeps would be harder, but they'll give you better stuff if you kill them. So
Okay, so
probably
yeah, okay,
not
I'm
what you're looking
interested
for.
then. Yeah, nah, rip.
Yeah. Anyway, hopefully that breathes some life back into the game, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up on the list, though, we have
Another Dota 2 clone.
wow, nice. Pokemon Unite is getting Hoopa, which I'm just trying to think. Is that the first legendary? that's in
Hoop is
Pokemon Unite?
mythical. And
and Zero
Yeah,
Aura.
Zero Aura is
was-
still in there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Zero Aura was
I
also
keep forgetting about
mythical.
Zero Aura. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. But yeah, Hoopa has been announced for Pokemon Unite, and yay. I don't know. I think I actually said earlier in this episode
Did, yeah.
that I climbed the ranks, became the elite child slayer, master rank solo queue Pokemon Unite player, and just haven't touched it since they moved on to season 2. Although I don't know, the game it's always interesting because it's so they get such frequent content updates. It's always interesting to just sort of like poke your head back over and see what's going on. So I don't know. I assume Hoopa will shift the game meta up again, but I don't think Hoopa's introduction
I
will be
think
enough
its
to get me to play it.
animations are cute.
Yeah, the animations
Just
are
looking at it.
the goal scoring animation is sick. I will say that.
Yeah,
it's
it-
pretty sick. Yeah.
Throws it through a ring or a hoop, if you will, and then it portals to the top of the hoop. That normally it's like a slam dunk, but Hoopa uses its own ring to slam dunk, which is cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I also like that its ultimate is like trapping you inside a hoop and then just like JoJo punching you from all angles.
Yeah. It also got released with announcements of like day one DLC paid costumes for it as well. So like typical free to play game, but
Yeah, that's dime a dozen.
standard
That's
Unite
standard.
content at this
Yeah,
point.
it's
yeah.
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 It's good that they are sort of getting supported with different costumes, because some of those costumes are actually pretty good, and you can tell there's a lot of thought being put into
They're
them.
too
Actually.
expensive though.
They
They're
are
so
very
unreasonably
expensive for what they are.
expensive.
Yeah.
But I think the more important news that we should talk about while we're on Pokemon is that to celebrate Pokemon Day, they released special artwork to celebrate Unova.
They've been doing artwork for all the regions.
Yeah, but today specifically was Unova Day.
Don't read into it.
There's no
Oh,
announcement of
actually,
a remake. I'm
Other
asleep.
so final thing on Pokemon Unite while I'm thinking of it. It's going to be interesting that given enough time, eventually there will be many hundreds of Pokemon to choose from when they eventually put every Pokemon into Unite.
I personally can't wait for Sneasler.
Oh, that'll be a meta
That'll be
shift.
so cursed.
You picked the absolute worst one to say out loud.
I did. There's a reason I did.
God, I had such a visceral reaction, just to myself as you said Sneasler.
Does anyone else taste vomit?
yeah.
Yeah, it's such a shit name.
It wasn't vomit, but it was like the shakes.
It's just a human in a fur costume. But no, we don't need to bring it up
Yeah,
again.
it's not doing it.
Yeah.
That's not doing it.
we talked about it in the spoiler cast. That's out now, right?
Shout out to the spoiler cast.
It'll be out soon when I finish editing it.
Oh, good. Well, people can look forward to that. No, the other Pokemon news I was going to say, did everyone complete the Articuno battles, the Galarian Articuno Pokemon challenge?
I did.
I didn't, but I wish I did. By the time you guys had mentioned it, I was too late for me to do anything, and I was just like, I'm just gonna sleep. So
What do you mean?
I
Didn't
missed
we
the
mention
first
it on
one.
like Friday afternoon?
We mentioned it on one day, but then I think you guys started sending photos that night, and it was like, oh well, it's too late now. Today's the last day.
So we did it, unless it was a New Zealand time zone thing, which hell, I don't know, it could have been. I couldn't do the battles the day that I subscribed to it, which was the day that I think Steve reminded everyone.
Yeah,
so
because
I signed up.
I subscribed right at the start, like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I forgot. I'll just go
I-
shiny hunt them probably.
I subscribed on the reminder, and I couldn't do the battles, but I was able to do the battles the next day, and that's when I don't want to brag, but got pretty close between my baby ice team and everyone's super tryhard OU meta team. Lasted 3 rounds. It was
You
close.
almost
It was
won
close.
around. Yeah.
I almost damaged a Pokemon to half health. Like, I don't know. Imagine Imagine seeing a team of like baby ice Pokemon and going, yeah, I'm gonna do an Incineroar Solgaleo opening. Like, bro, just touch grass. Anyway, I'm gonna get oddly worked up about that, even though it was a complete meme that I tried. Saif, did you do it?
No, I haven't played Sword and Shield.
So
I'm
no.
sure you haven't.
There was not a chance for me to do that.
Fair enough.
Unlucky,
Reminder
aren't you?
to everyone
That's what
listening.
I'm buying you for your birthday. It's Pokemon Sword.
I can just borrow it from my brother. I just haven't.
Yeah, but if I buy it and then like give it to you for your birthday, you'll feel guilty enough that you have to play it.
Are you sure about that?
If it was anyone other than me, I would say yes.
They will just shame you on the podcast until you play it. You're a fake fan.
And
I'm shamed enough on the podcast every week as is.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think we might need to up our game for that. Anyway, a reminder to everyone listening that Galarian Articuno, you might still be able to get it
No,
if
you can't.
you're
It's
enrolled.
like, no,
you can't.
As the battle's finished?
Yeah, they're all because
Yeah,
it was
that was the
just the
problem.
weekend. It was
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I should probably claim mine. We'll
yeah.
be able to claim
So you
mine.
can go claim it and download it now, and you can also register to get a shiny Galarian Moltres now, I believe.
Yeah,
and those
Moltres,
3 battles
and then
come from March the 10th to March the 12th, if I believe correctly, and you only have to do
Yep.
3 battles, and then you've got it.
yeah, and then the same with shiny Galarian Zapdos the following month, which I guess would also be whatever weekend falls on April 10th to 12th.
Yes.
Something that I thought was cool was that the Articuno is actually like a competitive one if you give it the I think it's what's it called, like Iron Ball or something. You make it slow. It's actually a competitive set, which is kind of cool.
Is it?
Yeah. People were talking about it, at least in the Facebook groups that I'm part of for Pokemon stuff. So I assume they were all the same, but I obviously didn't get one.
Are Mystery Gift Pokemon set nature and IV?
Depends. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
Yeah, this one is not from what I'm aware of.
Okay, great. Looking forward to soft resetting this one.
Oh, it's not. Okay. Oh, from what people were saying, that it was. Yeah.
Well, I think I think you can reset it to get it, but at the same time, like with Sword and Shield, it's easy to get competitive Pokemon, like either through bottle caps or through the mints.
The only way you can't get a competitive Pokemon for that is if you need something with the 0 stat.
Yeah, that's
That's the downside. So if you wanted to have 0 attack or 0 speed, you're like, well, I guess I can't do that. I
Yeah.
have to breed a Pokemon with the 0 for that.
So with you, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Next up in the list, we have another Unreal Engine game from SNK. I don't know much about this one, so someone will have to take over.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this one. It's just kind of surprising because SNK just released King of Fighters 15 like not even a full week ago. And they just randomly dropped on Twitter that they're going, hey, we've made our Samurai Showdown King of Fighters 15 and we've got a game in development at the moment all using Unreal Engine, like just to like push that they've been working with that engine for a little while now, and like they did an article on why they've switched to Unreal Engine. But it was just kind of surprising that they just came out and said, hey, we're also got another game in development using the engine, even though we just released King of Fighters 15 like 4 days ago.
I mean, got to keep the hype train going, right? Is there a countdown?
Not at the moment, no.
You need to wait for
No,
a tournament
never
to be
mind.
announced the same day first.
we have a countdown for an announcement, now.
Just wait till summer.
Yeah, true. Cool. Anything more to add to that? As I said, I don't really know
No,
much about this.
I just threw that in because it was kind of surprising.
Yeah, fair enough. Something I am more interested in, though. Interview with BioWare. They are they've confirmed what we'd already suspected in that a new Dragon Age game and a new Mass Effect game are on the way. I'll be honest, I'm actually not that enthused, given I don't know any BioWare game that's done well in the last 4 years.
Hasn't like every major like lead at BioWare left within the last 5 years?
Yeah, the rumors were that they were getting pushed towards Anthem, and then Anthem.
Flopped.
Anthem was Anthem.
Yeah,
Anthem
doesn't
a little bit too hard.
Flop doesn't
Yeah.
even begin to describe what that was. And then everybody sort of
They
gave
had
it
one
shit.
good feature and they leaned into that one feature.
Too much.
Yep.
Man, it's the beginning of the end. That was just a shit game. But anyway, yeah.
Tell us
So
how you really feel.
Is it on Game Pass?
no, that's how shit
No.
it is.
I don't think it's on anything.
Nah, they discontinued it. I think
Yeah.
they've shut the
Yeah.
service down at the start
Yeah,
of
I'm pretty sure it
last
doesn't.
year, I
You
think.
can't play it anymore.
Because initially they tried to do the artifact treatment of, hey, we released something. Oh, what we released was shit. we'll fix it up and we'll give it the No Man's Sky treatment. And then
they never fix it up.
Yeah, and then they got a year into it and went, we'll just put this in the too hard basket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was talks like they were literally just gonna like scrap it and then start again, but then obviously they started.
They did one of those.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, but anyway, so on this, it looks like
so on this,
they've been speaking about they came up with a blog post by where and they're still working on Dragon Age 4 and whatever the new Mass Effect game will be in 30 years' time, whenever that's released. So it looks like they'll be doing some updates later on in the year with some concept art and maybe even a couple of trailers.
I just hope they go straight into trailers because I'm sick of BioWare games being announced and they're like, hey, here's some like concept stuff that we've modeled, or hey, look at this over the shoulder of us testing something in the engine.
See you in 3
Dragon
years.
Age had the trailer for Game Awards 2020.
They did. Yeah,
and that looked cool.
It did, but like it's been like
there's nothing to it.
Yeah, it's been like nearly 8
I'm looking forward to Mass Effect. It's been like ages.
Don't talk to me about that when there's fucking Dragon Age, bro. It's been so much longer.
It's been 6 or 7 years since Andromeda.
Hasn't it been like 10 years since the last good one?
No, it's been 10 years since the last one. We got the Legendary Collection last year, but before that, we haven't had anything since Mass Effect 3, so Mass Effect 4 should be good.
Oh, yeah. Are you ignoring Andromeda?
You're right, Mass Effect 2 was 2010, so it's been 12 years since the last good one.
No, Mass Effect 3 was good. Yeah, no. Mass Effect 3 was good.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3 was fine. That whole trilogy was great. I hope they do a follow-up to what was otherwise a really good trilogy.
And don't take it into a different galaxy.
Yeah. And whatever you do, don't put it into another galaxy. I don't know if you would ever think of doing that, but I'm sure if anyone did that, the game would probably suck. So
you're saying you just want Commander Shepard again?
No, not Commander Shepard. I just don't want something set in a different galaxy 1,000 years apart.
I don't get how you set up. So like they went through and gave every planet a description that you could travel to in Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I don't get how you get to the end of a trilogy and go, you know what? Let's just shutter all of this world building we've done and start again in a different galaxy.
It's a good thing they didn't do that though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I'm going to get oddly worked up about this.
Man, what a weird thing.
I'm excited for Dragon Age. I mean, I'm excited for Mass Effect, but way more excited for Dragon Age.
Yes, I'm very excited for Dragon Age as well.
Yeah, because when did Dragon Age 2 come out?
Dragon Age 2 came out in 2011, but Dragon Age Inquisition came out in 2014, but Inquisition is one of the worst games I've ever played.
Shut the fuck up, Josh.
Yeah.
Josh Take.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
What do you mean, Josh Take? That one's actually
Inquisition's pretty good.
That's the majority opinion.
It is. No one really liked Inquisition. It was horrible. I tried to play it
Only
like
game journalists liked Inquisition.
It tells you everything you need to know about that game.
No,
I'd be hard pressed to call a game journalist a person.
Dragon Age 1 was amazing. Dragon Age 2 was like, this is still really good. And then Inquisition was like, well, there goes the series.
I love the idea that Seth's going to get dragged into a dark basement, gun against his head, tell me a game journo's a person, and Seth's like, I can't. I'll roll the dice.
Just pull the trigger.
Just end me, I'm not gonna lie.
I'll roll the dice.
I liked Inquisition. I thought it was pretty good with what they're trying
You're
to do.
the only one that liked
Wow,
it.
Josh Take.
Yeah, feeling ostracized here. Like there was a lot more misses than hits, but I did like how refreshingly different it was, and like there was a lot more different variety.
By being worse.
By being so much worse.
I will give Inquisition 1 point. It has a Stoller's voice actor in it.
I was about to say it has a decent soundtrack, so that's
a very good soundtrack. Yeah.
It has a
I
good
like all the
soundtrack.
characters as well, and
Imagine having a really well-reviewed game, and then the follow-up is we took the game in a new direction as a selling point, and it's down.
yeah,
it's the Andromeda of Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate into whatever was the next Assassin's Creed game.
True.
Origins.
So that brings me back to the point though. What was the last good BioWare game? Was it Mass Effect 3?
Probably.
When did
Mass Effect 3 come out?
Yeah, actually, that sounds about right.
That's such a fucked track record. I'm surprised EA hasn't like euthanized BioWare at this point.
Oh, hang on. Are they still doing
released
the
any
Knights
other
of the Old
games?
Republic series?
The cracks were starting. The cracks were starting to show in BioWare when they made that one Sonic game.
I made a Sonic game. What?
Made a Sonic game?
I don't remember this.
Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood on DS.
They made that
It was
game. Fucking hell.
That was the beginning of the end.
That was the beginning of the end for them.
I liked it. I liked Sonic Chronicles.
Anyway,
Oh man, Josh take.
Oh, you liked it? Oh god.
Steve's just bringing out all the bad takes. We're gonna start calling them Steve takes.
Yeah.
They didn't do Baldur's Gate 3, obviously. They did Baldur's Gate something for number 1 and something for number 2, but obviously they didn't do 3, because 3 is good and it's recently released.
Wow.
So no, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were good, but Baldur's Gate's like 3 is new and it's good. So I don't know.
All right, so final thoughts on this. We're excited for Mass Effect and Dragon Age, but realistically, what are we thinking out of 10 these games are going to be?
Realistically, barely a 1.
Barely a 1. Maybe like a 4.
If EA gives them time to like fully bake it, which EA will never do, then like I'd probably go and say a 7, maybe an 8. But realistically, maybe a 2 or a 3.
If they produce a 4, I will play it. Well, if they produce a 4 for Mass Effect,
You'll play it through grit teeth.
if they produce Mass Effect 4 and it's a 4 out of 10, I'll rose tinted glasses that to a 5 out of 10. That's all I'll say. Anyway, we should probably move on. Next up in the list, we have Bethesda doing good. We're in support of this, right? They're getting rid of Bethesda.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Microsoft's already making moves.
We've done it. You're welcome.
No. So it's like
that we haven't explained
Microsoft buys out Bethesda just to fix that one annoying thing, and then they sell them back again.
In saying Microsoft's fixing them, I'm surprised that these games aren't being moved to the Microsoft Store on Windows.
Why would they do that? All of the Microsoft games release on Steam as well as Windows.
I know, but I'm just saying that it's funny to me that they didn't also say that Bethesda games were moving to that store. They just said they were moving to Steam.
Because they're already part of the store for Xbox.
Oh, are they?
I believe
I'm pretty sure, yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're part of Game Pass.
Okay, never mind.
You have
me
to
then.
play them through Game Pass on the Xbox app.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm disappointed that they didn't announce support for Games for Windows Live as a launcher.
Oh, please, God. No.
Never return.
Yeah, no. God. That's...
Be gone.
I can't think of a worse hell.
It's the one thing that will make Josh grab the cross.
Oh, I'm pretty much a giant Microsoft shill for the last couple of years since I've been really using a lot of their enterprise products.
But even you have your limits.
Yeah, even I have my limits. Oh my god, I cannot stand Game for Windows Live. That thing.
So Steve, how do you feel about games for Windows Live?
True.
I don't use it
you
because I've
wouldn't
got
have had
Xbox.
to use it. Yeah.
I do remember a couple of games using it when I was 15 years ago when I was a kid playing, but
didn't change for those 15 years.
Yeah, that's why.
And it only got
everyone's
sunsetted a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so bad.
Anyway, Bethesda did good. You love to see it.
We didn't actually explain what they did.
We just talked around it for 3 minutes.
That's what I was about to ask. Anyone want to actually describe what the change is?
Yeah, may as well. The Bethesda.net launcher, for lack of a better name, because why would you name it anything other than the same name as your company, I guess? That's getting sunsetted. All of the content is moving to Steam, and they're actively working on migrating all of your stuff from Fallout 76 for the 3 people who have played it into the Steam, so you have a seamless sync. That's about it.
That's some pretty special treatment for those 3 people.
This is a type of sunsetting I like to see.
Yeah.
More of this, please.
Next up, Origin.
Yeah. Next up, Origin. Wait, is Uplay still officially supported?
It is. Yeah. It's called something else now, I think.
Gotta drop
Origin's
that.
now called EA Desktop Application Beta.
God, I hate it so much.
Yeah, same.
So
Activision one, I think, will actually disappear very soon as well. Microsoft will probably kill that off.
Wasn't Activision's one part of Bethesda.net?
No, that's Battle.net. It's completely different.
Yeah, Battle.
It was too.
Yeah, except it's not called Battle.net anymore. It's actually called... Actually, no, it is called
It's the Blizzard
Battle.net.
launcher, isn't it?
Games for
it
Windows
is called
Live 2,
Battle.net.
The
It was
Revengeance.
called the Blizzard launcher. Now it's called Battle.net.
I think it was Blizzard launcher when I played Overwatch.
Yeah. It got moved into Battle.net.
Any other comments, or shall we move on?
Let's move on to Activision since we've brought them up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's also how I'm feeling.
Bobby Kotick.
Woo! Go big guy! You made it in the news again.
Do you think he has like all the clippings of the times he's made like newspapers and stuff, just like in a dedicated room the size of like a
It's in the
hall?
Cosby suite.
Yeah, it's in the Cosby.
He gets his
God.
PA to just like cut out the newspaper clippings, like not even full, but just like real hostage letter style, like each letter just to make up the same words. And they'll ask like, "Hey, this is a complete waste of my time. Why am I doing this?" And Bobby's just like, "I need more."
Please,
All publicity is good publicity.
I'm getting another like 15 mil. I can pay you. Money is no object for me, he says.
He got so big that he was covered by US major news networks, which means he's worth more money now.
Oh god. Anyway, I guess do we explain what we're talking about? This
Yeah, we're
time?
gonna have to. We're gonna have to.
Yeah. Obviously. Well, who wants to take it?
Bags not.
You've already
Alright, I
started,
guess
Josh.
I will. I already started. So everyone knows Bobby Kotick, the CEO currently of Activision Blizzard. He's getting a $15 million golden parachute, they called it in this headline from Axios. Basically, if he leaves, he'll get $15 million to leave.
No, it's if Microsoft fires him for any reason,
Yeah,
he gets
yeah.
15 million.
Exactly. So yeah, if he didn't resign, then he gets it basically. So it's just absolutely nuts considering he's like making a big deal of like, oh, you know, I'm making the same wage as like a minimum wage or whatever it is, but the dude already has stupid money and he's got like stuff like this in the background. Like, it's just sad. Like, it's just another thing to add to the pile of like, I can't believe this shit is still happening.
Not to mention, if the board of Activision Blizzard sees measurable improvement across, I guess they're going to be like some sort of survey metrics or internal company culture metrics, then the board is going to get a fairly hefty bonus as well, of which some portion will go to Bobby. So, literally can't stop winning.
Yeah. So just a dot point in this article actually is that he owns or has the right to acquire 6.5 million shares, which will be worth $619 million at Microsoft's asking price, which is oh my god,
so much money.
Oh,
Something that is so fucked from this article as well I want to mention is that when they initially got into talks with Microsoft's opening bid was $80 a share. And over the course of this was like right before everything negative about Activision started coming out. All this stuff started happening, and over the course of the month of the negotiation, Activision somehow managed to get that up to $95 a share rather than going down to whatever.
which is
like how do you get all that bad publicity and increase your share price?
because their stock price still kept going up all that whole time, which is crazy. Or for most of it anyway, because they were reporting profits. So people kept buying into it. I don't know, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's
Big companies
big
literally
scam.
too big to fail.
Yeah, and one more other really dour note I wanted to highlight was that part of the deal with Microsoft is that Activision Blizzard is not allowed to get into any collective bargaining agreements with employees or unions without Microsoft's direct approval. So this is another union busting tactic as well.
I don't even know necessarily that it's a union busting tactic. Yes, it is a way to stop people, but it could also be seen on the other side where Microsoft has been like, hey, we've seen everything that you've tried to do. Don't do any more shit without our approval because we have to rubber stamp it because now it looks bad on them as well. So
yeah, but now the unions have to
another-
go to Microsoft rather than Activision Blizzard.
yeah, it's just
And-
another thing in the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also want to point out that the last dot point in the article is that they're still expecting an extra $2.5 billion revenue increase. So on top of their current revenue for 2023, which is insane.
Give money.
right. And now that we've finished talking about the
Depressing news
I was
of
trying to-
money and how it's not real.
trying to
Money is
think
a social
Line
construct.
go up.
No, I was trying to think of like the I don't know, the expired cranberry juice of a human. Yeah, we'll roll with that one. Now that we've finished talking about them anyway, one final and hopefully much happier piece of news on the list, which we might be talking about for a little bit longer. Some Final Fantasy news, courtesy of our Final Fantasy power user, Saif, the man himself. Tell us about it.
Yep, so this is going to be a bit of a longer one because they did a live stream this past Friday, and there was a lot of stuff they covered in this. So I'm going to just highlight some of the bigger overarching points rather than all this little nitty-gritty stuff. If you want the nitty-gritties, then there's articles online that cover everything. But I'm going to cover the things that I think are very important for the game's life. So to start off with, during a mic check, Yoshi P just forthwith said the game will not support NFTs. They will not be adding NFTs into the game, and there's nothing Square Enix can do to make him add NFTs into the game.
And everybody clapped.
So everyone did clap, yes. So to go over what this stream was, they wanted to cover like the past 10 years of the game's life and just kind of have like a little bit of a look back, but also their future plans leading up to patch 7.0, which is going to be the next major expansion that releases for the game. So each patch of like the 6 series, so like 6.1 through to 6.5, they're going to start adding trust dungeons and trust trials into the game for 4-player events. Trust is something that they introduced in Shadowbringers, where you can take story NPCs into dungeons and one trial specifically and do those as single-player instances rather than having to play multiplayer.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, so by the time the next expansion comes out, you'll be able to play the vast majority of this game single player.
I have a question about that before you move on from that quickly. Is that going backwards from Shadowbringers as well? Like, is that going to do Realm Reborn, Heavensward, have they said?
Yeah, so that's what this sorry, I didn't explain it well enough, but starting in 6.1, they're going to do all the Realm Reborn dungeons. 6.2 is going to be Heavensward, and so on.
Cool,
so they're going to be adding them into all the older content.
Hopefully we'll get less Stasha in the roulette then.
God, I hope so. They said they're not going to do 8-player trials at the moment because that's a bit too much, but they'll consider it once 7.0 comes out if they're going to do that.
Trials are fine anyway. They're like 5 minutes in and out.
Yeah,
usually.
And they're a lot easier to get into as well.
Yeah.
Going off of that, they're making some major changes to A Realm Reborn's endgame and trials.
Good.
So this is this is what I didn't write these into the notes, so I could just hit Josh with all of these. Cape Westwind's trial is being sunsetted.
And that is being the hardest boss in the game.
Yeah, the hardest boss in the game is being sunsetted and being turned into a single player instance. So the fights will still exist in game. It's just going to be a single player fight now rather than a 8-player fight that's done in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Castrum and Praetorium are being turned into 4-player dungeons, and Praetorium's dungeon will be ending much, much earlier.
Can you skip the cutscenes in the dungeon? Because I swear to God.
I think because of this, you'll be able to skip.
Oh, I sure hope
either
so.
skip cutscenes, or because it's not 8-player anymore, they're just going to run through faster with these changes. But also, the second last fight in this in that dungeon is being cut out and being turned into its own trial, and the final fight of the dungeon is going to be a solo instance. So they're shortening the length of the dungeon as well as making these changes.
That's good. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so rather than sunsetting content, they're just making things like easier for older players to just not have to deal with them anymore, and newer players to get through things faster.
Yeah, like I was saying for the Destiny stuff last week, like I'm much more in favor of just having them be single player content, which it sounds like that's heavily what they're doing. So yeah, no, good.
Yeah, like I'm not a fan of like removing these things entirely, especially because 14 is such a story-heavy game, and like from A Realm Reborn all the way to Endwalker is like one massive story arc. Yeah. So cutting things out doesn't make sense for that game, because as much as it's an MMO, it's much more a Final Fantasy game than that. When 7.0 does come out, they're going to be doing their first ever graphical update to the game.
Oh, thank God.
They're going to be improving models, animations, and lighting across the board. Development team still wants the game to be accessible to lower-end PCs, though, and still support the PS4 version, so don't expect too big of a jump. but it's still going to be pretty good. And from something I heard but haven't gotten clarification on, is that apparently this is also going to be an opt-in, opt-out sort of thing. So like if your PC can't handle the newer models and lighting, then you can turn it off potentially.
Do you reckon they'll continue supporting? Wait, do they continue supporting the PS3 already?
No, they dropped that.
They dropped that already. Okay.
Yeah, they dropped that somewhere in between Stormblood and Shadowbringers.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, do you reckon they're still gonna do that? But yeah, okay, that makes sense.
The PS4 version will probably be dropped somewhere between the next expansion and the expansion after that.
Once everyone can actually buy a PS5, yeah.
What about the Xbox version? But when's that coming?
So when they were talking about the graphical updates of the game, they showed off this very nice model of an
Master
NPC. They were like, so people are talking about like Horizon coming out very soon and things like that. We want to make it very certain that this is not what we're aiming for, and put a big fat no sticker over the picture they were showing, which I thought was pretty funny. And
that's hilarious.
So yeah. So for a little bit, they went through like all the different pictures and stuff. I might flash a couple of those across the screen while we're talking about this, because some of those changes are very nice and drastic, especially the lighting ones.
I've seen non-stop memes about the grass.
Yeah, the grass is actually a very, very funny story, because there's a cutscene in Endwalker that they have to zoom in on some flowers very close to the grass, and because the grass is auto-generated, it just looks like shit. Like every time they tested it, it looks like shit, to the point where Yoshi P just said, look, just disable the auto-generated grass for this one scene in particular. It's ruining everything.
Yeah. And they also did maintenance on a grape, can't forget.
Yep. So many people are upset with that. They wanted to go back to the old version because the crystal grapes were hilarious.
All right, what else did they change?
They're going to be changing like NPC models, and they're going to change the player model, but they want to try and make sure that your player model still looks pretty close to how it is at the moment. They're just in testing phases at the moment, so they're not like hard like implementing these until the next expansion comes out anyway. They also said that throughout the 6.x series of updates, they're going to be adjusting the glamour system, so you have more glamour plates and your glamour dresser can hold more stuff, which is
good.
Thank you so much. There's never enough space for these things.
I think I was complaining about the last time I played, saying that, you know, even WoW has a better system than this.
Yeah. Oh, like in general, the glamour system is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But like just expanding your inventory spaces for glamour system is very appreciated.
Glamour system being
transmogs.
Transmog basically.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And the last note I want to touch on is that on a development side of things, they're changing their patch cycle. Originally, like, they've had a consistent every 3.5 months they would put out a new major patch for the game, which would come with like more story content, more side content, more dungeons and such. Because of everything they're planning to introduce by the time 7.0 comes out, they're changing their development cycle to every 4 months, giving themselves like an extra 2 weeks to test things before they implement it into the game. And they also said like when holidays and stuff come in, there's going to be like additional wait times between that, which I think is fair. Yeah, like you need the extra time to make sure these things are down pat. And 14's been such a strong game so far.
But Saif, we want our rushed and buggy mess now.
Well, too bad. The last time they did that, no one could play the game.
They're gonna remove it from sale again.
Yeah, they're gonna remove it from sale for the bad reason rather than the good.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all the major beats of announcements. Everything else that was announced was like very minute. This content is coming in this patch sort of thing, which I don't want to cover right now. But yeah, all these major changes coming out is looking pretty good for the game's health for the next foreseeable future.
That all sounds sick. Any follow-up, like initial thoughts on that, Josh?
Yeah, no, it all sounds good, really. It's more Final Fantasy content, so yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, the changes to A Realm Reborn are very appreciated because that part of the game is a slog already. But they've
yeah.
they've had to do so many things to get end game players to go back to that content to help new players as well to get through. And God, I think the first time I did Praetorium, I was sitting in like a 50-minute queue as a DPS.
Yeah.
So anything that lowers that queue time for new players is very appreciated.
It's pretty bad. Even as a healer, it took a little while. And like
Yeah.
the dungeons
Oh.
have unskippable cutscenes currently. So you have to sit there and watch the same cutscene, and because it's a daily mission, you're like, oh well, time to watch these same cutscenes again because there's only the 2 that I can get from this roulette for this daily. So you
Right.
can do
Yeah,
the same 2 dungeons every day. And
The plus side of doing that daily is that you get like 3/4 or like a full level of experience for your classes, and you
Yeah.
get big rewards for end game stuff if you're doing a capped out character.
yeah, you get like some
But,
good stuff, but it's like, oh boy, like, you know, it's effectively
to-
like, you know, time to flick on Netflix or something while I do this for an hour for the day. It's
Yeah.
just, it's dreadful. So I'm glad it's
Also-
changing.
Also, it just hit me that since they're turning these into 4-player dungeons, people can just trust these their first time through.
Probably, yeah. So hopefully I
Yeah.
never have to see those cutscenes again with the subpar voice acting for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, good and healthy changes coming to the game. I'm very excited for the game's future. And they're doing that thing I wanted where now that... I don't know if they're doing an engine update, but they're at least improving the game's graphics, which is very nice.
Needed to be done for sure. Some of the old areas, like in the first couple of X packs, look pretty iffy.
Yeah, and like just the things they're doing for lighting changes already drastically improve the environments.
Yeah.
Sweet. And with that, we are at the end of the news for this week. We now have our audience question. We have Anonymous writing in asking, what is the most expensive edition/game you've ever bought and why? Stress on the why. Should we start with you, Saif?
Oh god, okay, you put me on the spot.
Okay, Josh. Think about it.
No,
Think
no,
about it.
no. I got it. I got the
You weren't
answer.
ready. You weren't ready.
Is that
You're gone.
It's that I've given Steve so much shit for this that my answer's gonna suck.
Oh, I see.
I bought Final Fantasy XV's Ultimate Edition for
good.
$350.
$350.
I wait
Oh my god.
That hurts.
because I waited 10 years for that game, so I promised myself I would buy the most expensive edition of that game when it came
Why'd you
out.
promise yourself that?
It-
That's so much money.
Man,
For the
you're
best Final
10,
Fantasy
10
game.
10 years ago, Saif was really banking on you just having money, huh?
Yeah, it was actually like the year before the game came out, in a point where I didn't have a job or money, and I still managed to do it.
Well,
Oh god, yeah, and
What'd it
yeah,
come
that
with?
game did not live up to the $350 I spent.
I don't think anything can live up to that fucking amount of money. But what did it come with?
It came with a Noctis Play Arts figure, it came with like a massive art book, and a few other things that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Did you keep any of them after playing the game?
Oh yeah, it's still on my shelf, and every day I sit there staring at it, thinking about burning it all.
Oh, it's such a good game. It's a great game.
Oh, it also came with the movie and the anime.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
cool.
the ones that you needed to
You know,
watch
the
to
anime
get the
that's
story.
for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yo, nice.
Ugh.
Stonks. Josh, what about you?
I think mine probably is Escape from Tarkov, because the big boy edition of that one gives you quite a bit of just in-game stuff that's really useful. And then it was 135, I think, USD, which is like 180 or something Australian. So I ended up buying that one after getting the original game for the $20, but they're both still currently pre-orders. So I just like upgraded my edition. So that'd probably be that.
And why?
Why? Because I already had sunk 300 hours into the game at that point, and my friend gave me a license code, and I was like, well, I'm going to upgrade it to get all of this in-game stuff. Particularly, there's a container that if you die in the game, rather than
You die in
losing
real life.
absolutely
Oh,
everything,
shit.
no, you have like a small container that you can put certain items in. That you just get a bigger one that you just never lose that stuff if you die. So it's really, really useful because you die a lot of the time in Tarkov.
I see. Steve.
I've got a few. I think.
Let me just reel off my Gucci list real quick.
Oh no. Well,
Gotta get those receipts.
Surely Fallout was the most expensive.
I'm pretty sure. So yeah. So I went through a big stage of like pre-ordering like games as soon as I started making money from Macca's, and it was literally I'd worked for 100 hours, and they would all go to a game pre-order. And then I'd come home with a game pre-order, and Mum would be like, "Where'd you get the money for that?" I'm like, "Oh, I work hard."
Drugs.
She's like, "I work
Please
hard
don't
for
beat
that."
me again.
It's like, "Oh, how much was that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's an amount."
250.
How much you got saved up, Steve? That's none of your business, Mum. I work hard for my money. 0. Yeah, so I think
Why
most
don't you buy a new aerial for your Commodore instead? No.
What do you mean? Why would I
Sorry,
need
go
to?
on.
A metal clothesline works fine. And it's got an aux port
granted.
as well.
That steering wheel's looking a little rough, buddy. Don't you need a new one?
No, it's fine. It'll
The whole
last.
car looked a little rough.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. But anyway, I think, the Fallout 4 pre-order bonus I got cost me like $250, and it came with this Pit Boy replica that was the most fucking dog shit thing I've ever been burned with.
Because your phone didn't fit, right?
The phone didn't
It's
fit.
hilarious.
It was McDonald's quality. Like it was like
Oh no!
it was like a weird.
Actually, no. I will say there's the one McDonald's toy of Sasuke that is like exceptional quality because it'll balance anything. But besides that, yeah, McDonald's quality is awful.
There was
McDonald's
those like
did
little
Naruto.
like Sonic handheld games and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, those
Two
are
buttons. They were
sick.
sick.
Yeah,
Those
the
were
Sonic
good.
Heroes handheld
those are
games.
good.
I love those.
Golden Age of Mech is right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Golden Age of video games, arguably.
You got like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards and stuff at some point as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're any good though. Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway, so this Fallout thing didn't fit
First
my
edition
phone.
Charizard.
Oh, thanks, Logan. But yeah,
I got sweet and sour sauce from my nuggies on it. Now it's worthless.
You would buy Macca's and gain like 300 grand.
we didn't know at the time though. Oh,
Still.
all those times I know my mum to go into Macca's and she never did. Serves her right. Yeah, so this Fallout 4 thing, like, it barely fit my arm because it needed to be like really tight because I think they were expecting a much larger, portly gentleman would be pre-ordering it. And then because I had one of the Sony Xperias, it didn't fit properly. And it's just fucking garbage quality. And like I think it was like one of my friends maybe put it on to sort of try it on, and I snapped the Velcro strap on it.
Oh god.
Ah,
And I just put it down. I'm like, that's it. It's going back in the box. It was sort of all right. It's sort of like a thing to put on the desk as a stand. But then every time someone would come over, they'd be like, oh, yeah, hey, what's that like? Can I put it on? I'm like, no, put it down. Don't fucking touch it.
that actually reminds me. Oh god. I bought the Bayonetta special edition for like 110. I think the base game was coming up for 100, so it was like only $10 extra. It came with a replica of one of her guns, and a few years later, like the stand it came with was really shoddy quality, so this thing was always tipping over. And just one day, my cousin accidentally tipped it over, and it just shattered.
Oh, shit.
Oh god.
Should have put it in a jar.
Oh no. No.
It was just her gun, not her.
It was just the gun then.
sidestep
Okay, that's
that
not funny.
landmine.
That's not funny anymore. I thought it might have been like a feed or something. I don't know. God, I sometimes
all
miss
of
like
this.
getting like figurines from like pre-ordering games.
Yeah, figurines, and I got with Infamous 2, I got a replica of Cole's bag from that game, which I used at school for quite a while.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if Josh remembers that. It was like a single strap bag.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I didn't know what it was from at the time. I probably would have made fun
Yeah.
of you for
Did
it.
you pretend you had lightning powers at the same time?
Nah, I wasn't that cringe.
He would Naruto run around
I
the
don't
school.
know, man.
Naruto run between classes.
We've all been there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
We've
we
all
have.
been there.
Rite of passage, really.
Personally, like, I never got anything physical except for one thing for the game that I pre-ordered. Because I was sharing a room for most of my life, and then when I moved out, I was like, oh, digital games exist. Why would I buy a physical copy? But I got, for pre-ordering Skyrim, you got like a map that was printed on like linen or something. That was really cool. It had like the map of
Oh man, that
Tamriel.
sucks because the PC edition was printed on plastic paper.
Oh, was it?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You got like a linen one for like the Xbox one at least.
Yeah,
on the
it was. It
360.
was in the.
It was really good.
The game case. That's right. it
Yeah,
was
yeah, in the
too.
steel case. Yeah, it was awesome. I wish I still had it. I think it tore. But yeah, no, that was like the only thing I got physical with the game, and it was actual quality, and I was like, this is good. I like this.
Wasn't there shoot, I'm struggling to remember what the series was now. It was a serial series, so it was like game, I don't know, 5 or something in the series where
Oh, like
you could get No, I
Drink it out of a
oh,
bowl,
yeah,
right?
nice. I don't remember what the game was though, but it was like a $200 or $300 pre-order thing, and it didn't come with the game. It was just like
Oh,
it was
there was
just a bunch
Assassin's
of
Creed
shit.
ones that did that.
Yeah, a couple of the Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed ones, a couple of the Far Cry ones do that as well. Like it's
I
a
don't.
weird
Yeah,
scheme.
it's sounding like an Ubisoft pre-order, and it probably was, but like it just came with a bunch of stuff, including a steelbook case, but just not the game.
Not the game, yeah.
Might
Yeah,
have
definitely a
been
Ubisoft
Cyber-
thing.
I think did one of the Cyberpunk pre-order bonuses do that? Cyberpunk,
I don't know.
could-
I
50.
remember it getting memed really
I think
hard.
it might have been a Watch Dogs game that did that.
Oh, it might have been.
still-
'Cause I remember
Ubisoft,
it
yeah.
came with. I remember it came with like a shitty $20 Xiaomi drone or something. It might have been
It
Watch
probably
Dogs.
was a Watch Dogs one then, yeah.
Either way,
God, Ubisoft's
hilarious.
got really insane with their special editions. They still are.
I'm pretty sure the Cyberpunk Xbox didn't come with a copy of Cyberpunk.
No, yeah, it didn't. It didn't. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
fuck, that's a cool looking Xbox.
Actually, even the Switch, there was certain Switch ones that they released, and they didn't come with a copy of the game. The Pokemon ones are notable. The Animal Crossing one didn't either. There's a whole bunch of things that you just
Yeah,
assume
that's right.
would
Where
come
it's just
with
like
it, but it just
the
doesn't.
it's just like the Joy-Con design and the
Yeah.
design on the dock and things.
Yeah, and it just didn't
Yeah,
come
and
with
you'd
the
think
game.
they'd preload the game onto them, but it's like, no, you still got to buy the game separate.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Smash
got to
one
link
came
it to your
with
Nintendo
but
account.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no more pre-ordering games. You're paying more than
We've learnt those lessons.
you're paying more
Only
than
buy games
$20
that I
for a
can play.
game or $35 for an anime game. There you go.
Lesson learnt. What about you, Patrick? Oh, thanks for asking. I think.
Don't think we asked, man.
Sorry, we got through the couch already.
Yeah, right. Well,
No,
thanks
what was
for
it,
hanging
Pat? Don't
on
be
us.
like that.
I am interested
Tell
in
us
your
what it
opinion.
was and why it's Deep Rock Galactic.
So I've got a couple because
Just a couple of Neko Para games. Sorry, go on.
I have a couple because I'm trying to figure out. I've got a couple. I've got a couple in my mind. I think the first one would have been pre-ordering MotorStorm 1 for $600
What?
Oh, because of the console.
because it came with a
Yes.
PS3.
Oh, okay, that makes me feel considerably. Oh, I guess Final Fantasy XIII would be mine then because I got my 360 with it. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Option 2 was that I bought the I bought the full band hero with the drum kit and guitar and mic and stuff.
Oh man, yeah, that costs some money.
That I managed to get fairly cheap for like $220, I think. But for what it was, I think that was a pretty good deal. But in terms of just an edition, I think it would have been one of the Forza Ultimate editions, which I think
Oh, that was so expensive actually.
like because they
180
came with like
bucks.
season pass DLC and stuff. The top was either 150 or 180 New Zealand,
Yes.
which is still quite a bit below you guys. But that's probably the most expensive one-off game that I've bought.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 3 was I think it cost me about 180 Australian for the big boy edition, or 150.
I definitely didn't pay more than 180 for any of them, but it was definitely up around that mark because the game alone was 100. So then
Yeah.
that plus the DLC on top.
Worth every cent, but
I mean, you're coming
absolutely.
out of this conversation with like 150, 180 being the top mark for yourself.
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty sane compared to some of the other choices and games mentioned, especially ones that were bad and disliked.
I like how good I got you guys with the MotorStorm one though. I've been sitting on that for like
Yeah.
a while.
I was actually shocked.
I knew as soon as you mentioned, like as soon as you said the price tag, I was like, oh, because it came with the console.
yeah, slightly too high. Anyway, thank you for writing in, Anonymous. Hopefully that answers your question. If anyone out there is listening and has a question they would like us to answer, they can write to us. We have a mailbag, which would be fasttravellounge@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at fasttravellounge. Sans L, that is missing one of the L's in the middle. Don't ask why, it's a whole thing, you had to be there. Or Facebook at Fast Travel Lounge. If you like what you're hearing, feel free to give us a follow on Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube, or any other way of showing your appreciation on whatever platform you might be listening to this on. But other than that, should we do a really quick 10-second what people are up to for this next week? Anyone got anything notable to add in there? Anyone playing Elden Ring?
Yeah, I'll be playing.
I'm actually skipping on Elden Ring at the moment because I can't remember if we said it on podcast or right before recording, but some things came up and I can't actually afford it this week, so that will have to sit on the back burner for a while actually while I work through some of my backlog.
Fair enough. Anything from you, Steve?
Hopefully I'm fucking finished Persona 4. I've put like 85 hours into it. Like, oh, I know I say it every week.
Oh, 85. You're pretty close.
I'm getting there, but like I just finished that last dungeon.
You're almost close to the
Good
speed run.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Anyway, that concludes episode 13. Thank you for joining us here at Fast Travel Lounge, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.